towards the bot side. Humanoid picks up the turret.
Gulborg, do give me a second here. I do want to follow what the producers were saying. First of all, when we look at the standings, a few things to call out. Team BDS are locked in first. If Team Astralis win this game, they will lock in the second seed. However, it's looking very unlikely. The thing that's the most interesting for me is if Fnatic use this lead to win the game, they could make top 4. There are scenarios in which they make top 4.
I mean, the scriptwriters went crazy this year, didn't they?
They did. Do you want to know how they get to top 4?
Go for it. Go for it.
If you want to find out how they get to top 4, you can head to lec.gg/foldysheet to figure it out. Oh,
Reckless almost got folded there by that hook as well. But it is just going to be the first Drake of the game, Trevor. 15 minutes into the game, finally taking here. So the Drake stacking will take some time. Looking at roughly 30 minutes before we're looking at a Soul, which of course would be quite late into the game.
And I don't think either of these teams want to win via Soul. At least how the 15 minutes of gameplay is.
I mean, if Astralis can come back to do it, they probably would like it, but yeah.
Let me put it this way. Their priority would be to win via kills, I think is the inclination that we're getting right now. And I think once we do get the scoreboard back up, I want to look at this gold lead and where it is accrued for the respective players, because Mythics across the board, you have for members of Fnatic, 1 tower to the name. I mean, look, 400 gold in the top lane, 1600 in the jungle and mid. And I think for Humanoid, the fact that he's got that Ludens and the fact that there's a number of squishier targets, if he can use vision and find those flank opportunities, this LeBlanc can really take over the game, or at least get enough damage down for Jinx and Jace to clean up.
Yeah, just looking at the CS from a different of the laners now, I'm always so impressed with Leader, how he's able to keep up, because Humanoid has been super solid. Finn, on the other hand, roughly 30 CS behind his matchup, and that's even after he got all the help from 113. So Oscar been doing a phenomenal job up here, soaking the pressure, waiting for his team to be reliable. And we're in a different scenario. Last game, no one could respond to Adam in a side lane. This game, it's going to be Humanoid on LeBlanc.
And what I really liked, while Humanoid was sieging that bottom inner turrets, there was a number of Fnatic wards in that western quadrant. You can see around the blue buff area of Astralis. Multiple members of Astralis were showing under the towers. So while it looked a little risky for Humanoid to be like poking under tower, he had the information. He knew where his opponents were.
Yep.
And at the same time, that Oscar and Jace in the top lane with the arcane buff, thanks to Jinx and Jace in the same game, they're working to take their second tower and extend that lead even further.
Oh, you really went for that one, but it's also...
Have you heard of Arcane?
Shut up.
The Emmy Award-winning anime on Netflix? You should check it out if you haven't. I'm not a sellout, I swear.
Yep, all right. Now, top side of the map, you can even see that entire vision that they had there while you keep talking to them. I'm just going to say, like, Fnatic is actually so good at playing towards the side lanes. Oscar had the vision he needed to actually push up here, but even down towards the bottom half, Humanoid, fully alone, barely any vision, was the one pressuring that tier 2, and he can do that because he's LeBlanc. So we're actually looking at an 1-3-1 composition, which we haven't seen so often, but now Razork might get caught off guard here, trying to get to the wall, but it's warded on top with a blue trinket, so no one can get to him, and Razork goes down.
I mean, those lanterns have been instantly blocked. I will give you an update. I had an inkling as well as you did. The latest first dragon of spring, this game was just over 15 minutes.
Yep.
The previous record was 11 and a half.
Oh, right. So it was quite late.
A lot later. We didn't really get a chance to set it up just because of how much action. 18 kills, 18 minutes. Razork was caught out, but it is still a 4,000 gold difference. I think the thing I want to look at is this next dragon fight. 2 minutes to go. River vision established, and the tower advantage to Fnatic. It does mean that they will have a slightly safer time setting it up and moving into the river because they can't fall back to those objectives.
Oh yeah, and also so easy for them to just pressure here. You can face check with Razork. Even if a member gets caught off guard, you have the Lantern and at the end, Humanoid so difficult to get to. You can even bait into Twisted Advance by Wing forward and Wing back then to bring the Maokai into your team, making it a super easy way to get a reset of the Jinx passive. And now Humanoid, how much damage is 1Q just going to do? That's almost 1/4 of Cobb HP.
I mean, gigantic damage already. There's a reason it's called the Sigil of Malice. It is causing malice to Astralis. Death Sentence to Rocket Grab. Ooh, Rocket Grab just goes a little wide of Humanoid. Now Advien's on the hunt. Death Sentence onto Maokai. Hops over the wall with the Lantern. Razork will get his Glacial Prison in just a second. Finds the bird. Kobe will cleanse away from it. The knock up into the end. Razork's running for his life. Those feathers are all at the choke point. Kobe can do so much with it. He's been exhausted, waiting to call the blades backwards. And it's a trade of kills. 1 for 2 in favor of Astralis.
Yeah, that was so messy. I barely had any clue what was happening because they just kept standing there hitting each other. But as you said, Copper untouched in the back line. They get the 2 kills and they might get the mid lane turret at the end of that skirmish.
If we get the replay and it does slow down a little, can you keep an eye on Cobby's timing? I think he held his E until the exhaust wore out, from at least how I saw that live.
So the feathers get used in the beginning initially as well, so you get a lot of the damage coming out here. He's stacking it up, stacking it up, stacking it up. Still waiting for it.
Still waiting to pull back, yeah.
Incredibly fit. And I think after here is where the first feather comes out.
Right, so they're on cooldown then, okay.
Yeah, okay, so that's why it's on cooldown. So yes, he does get exhausted. It looks like he holds it, but he's still waiting for it. Still 4 seconds on the feather. Now exhausted, cooldown, cooldown, cooldown. Exhaust goes off, and the feathers are finally there.
Yes, that was so good. Also, huge kudos to the observers. They actually turned on the feathers based on the commentary, or like showing their champion portrait. It's not something we normally do. I freaking love you guys. Of course, Cobby loves those feathers, so they get that fight. They are now still trailing Fnatic, and the Dragon is the next objective.
Oh, Humanoid needs to be careful.
The rocket grab into the static field, and the Cats. Astralis are not done. They want that top 2.
And that's so huge before a fight as well. You saw there is different places that he could actually go there from the distortion. You have the W and you have the ultimate of it. But it's just Jonghoon immediately calling where he's going to go. They get the shutdown, 500 coins in the bag of leader, and they can now stack up the Drake for themselves. They do have to be careful, though. Baron is up and available, just spawned 40 seconds ago, and Astralis, the only vision they have around it is in the pixel bush.
Now, that gold lead that was built up, I don't think matters quite as much. We've seen the burst damage Leader Zed and Cobby's Xayah have under their belt. Both of these teams playing sort of like restrictions off in many ways. They're both locked into group stage. They're both in comfortable-ish positions. And we're just seeing an all-out brawl. Hex Flash over the wall. Oscar in. He's going to be forced to flash away, but he respected that hook.
Jonghoon has been very precise with his rocket grabs. You can even see it. Oscar in it, not going to risk it, just flashing it once you see that it has the right direction. But still, push out, come out on top lane. Vision control around the Baron area. Very much in the favor of Fnatic right now, and once Humanoids start putting pressure on the bot side, he has that teleport. So if Fnatic wants to look for skirmishes, see if they want to use any TP flanks here to bait Astralis in on the top side and turn on them, they have the potential set up for it.
So the question I'm going to ask you to think
it's
about...
already there, it comes through.
As we see a leader being targeted, but look at the minimap. Multiple members of Astralis coming forward. Leader, he's flashed forward. He's death marked. Living Shadow out. He's now got in range of the team. The Nyan Cats are thrown down. The Glacial Prism buys some time. The teleport in from behind, and Finn's using the E to do so much work. 113 caught by the death sentence, but Razork will be the next target. Oscar is taken. Astralis.
Oh, that's a hook again.
Decimating Fnatic. Jonghoon with the rocket grab to turn around, and now they want the Baron.
And the entire pressure there looked like it was a play that was set up for Fnatic's success, but Astralis, they're turning it around immediately. They pick up the fight, they pick up the skirmish, and they will pick up that Baron.
And listen, there is a lot of intensity here from Gulborg and I, but we are matching the game. And I was going to ask you a question about scaling, about how these team comps do it 2 or 3 items, because that's where we're going. But at the moment with Baron, Astralis may have just arrested control.
Yeah, initially, there's just not CC enough here to lock leader down. Ultimate come out later in a Tome of Desperation, but that's where it's just hitting. Well, initially I thought it was going to be 1-1-3, but it is actually Jonghoon. Finn came in with his flash, or TP, and then have eyes on Jonghoon now. Look how he catches up Reckless around that wall in just a bit to make the fight even more extended there. Absolutely beautiful, setting his AD carry up for success, and Advian, well, just honorably dying with his AD.
And I think Reckless had his flash available for that fight, got hooked out. I don't think it would have made a significant difference. Maybe could have been a nuisance in the Baron, but now the lead is gigantic. I will ask the question though, because I think when I look at Astralis' comp, when you see the mobility options, the Feather Storm, the Death Mark, the Living Shadow, Leader and Cobby have ways to dodge some of that burst damage.
So it's going to come down to the fact that there's a lot of pressure on Humanoid here as well, because you can't just traditionally front to back here, because when Cobb is this far ahead now, they're just going to win it. Humanoid needs to come in here, play the distortions, QW or QRE, see if you can poke him down, see if you can bait the ultimate, and then you kind of play, it's not necessarily a poke LeBlanc, but you're going in and out of the shadows just to get them further and further down. It's a playstyle that, for example, Showmaker has been incredible on, and Humanoid himself on the blind. But at this point in time, when you have Baron, when Astralis starts sieging up, when they start getting the control of the vision, that becomes really difficult.
I love you say Humanoid looking from the shadows, because he needs to step out to land those chains onto his targets, lock them down. Humanoid can control the perspective of the fights if he can use vision to his advantage. but he needs to strike from the darkness. He needs to surprise his enemies. And right now, the vision is just not in their favor.
Yeah.
I mean, pushed all the way back in a turret so down. I want to be a little cheeky and look at damage dealt this game. Kobbe has just exploded. And Astralis, I want to remind you, if they win this game, they lock top 2. BDS #1, Astralis #2. What freaking world are we living in?
Honestly, feels like a fever dream. Can't lie. And now Astralis still with Baron, pushing in mid lane, leader down the bot side. So they're going to shift the pressure from mid lane down to bot in a bit, take care of this tier 2. And the reason for this is just so that members of Fnatic are occupied in the mid lane. They get the faster tempo, they can be on tier 2 first, and they can then take it down.
All right, tower's going to drop. This is the 6th of the game. The gold lead is now swung in favor of Astralis. They are up 4,000. They were down 5,000. Now they're up 4K. That is a 10,000 gold swing of control. Fnatic will at least get themselves that inner top turret. And I think that late first dragon could be contentious. However, again, both of these teams have shown they want to see hero, kill hero. That's how they want to win the game, right? It's not about the objectives.
So the objectives is like the bait. You put it out on the map, and the animals, they just come crawling for it, and that's just where they start fighting. So you can see that happen here again. Baron's going to fall off in a bit as well, but it is going to be their time to just let Kobbe push in this mid lane wave, get control of the Drake area. You can pick it up if you want to, or you can continue pushing in mid, use the pressure that Finn has on top side.
And 3 items completed for both Leader and Kobbe, right? So Tiamat Cleaver, Prowler's Claw, BT, as well as the Gale Force and the Quick Blades. So Reckless is a full item behind. I mean, he's 2,500 gold behind, so that is why. And that means that this dragon should be uncontested. I don't see Fnatic going through the darkness, stepping out of the vision, especially because they have to deal with the Blitzcrank hook as well, so the threat is too high.
Yeah, they see the reality for what it is right here. They understand that there is no way for them to actually venture out here. It's like Lion King, don't touch where the light is currently not. And so Oscar now, seeing as they take Drake, can finally push in topside, buy them some extra time because it takes 1 extra wave that Fnatic or Astralis has to take care of. Actually, a lot of members of Fnatic right now.
So Finn's in trouble.
Towards the top side here.
Finn's been caught off. Flash available to him, TP available to him as well. That's literally 3 members immediately. 4 members coming soon. 5 as well. Distort forward. Ethereal Chain. Counter-strike not enough for Finn, so that will be Fnatic getting some golf claps from Berlin. And I'm waiting to see if someone can pick. By the way, I missed the fact that Leader's in the bottom lane.
Yeah, no, I mean, Leader's still down towards the bottom lane, just going for that split push, but that was a really nice pickup from the side of Fnatic, just dodging out on the vision to catch up on Finn, and no way to actually cross-map it. Leader didn't have the wave fully pushed in so he could actually take care of the turret, and this actually slows down the tempo of Astralis just a tidbit, which also means that now with Finn dead for 20 seconds, still 1 minute on the Baron, that's where Fnatic can try and leverage the fact that they have a man advantage to get some deeper vision.
So what is happening here? Fnatic looking to challenge this, but they might be walking into a trap. They might be walking into Astralis, who are waiting in the darkness. Nature's Grasp is available. Rocket Grab is available. Flash, Rocket Grab is sidestepped nicely done. Death Sentence connects to Yongu, but he stays alive long enough to get away. The heal keeps him up. He's finally taken down. It is Razork that picks up the kill, but at what cost? The Battle Pig is down, followed by Advier. The feathers fly, and Kobbe is blown up. Oscar Redden obliterating Kobbe on the front foot.
Humanoid's still going.
Humanoid's trying to find the target, needs the hourglass to stay alive. Fish bones and the zap not enough. Finally the shot blast does Fnatic win the fight 2-3.
He might have been a liability in the first week, but Oscar now coming up clutch, being the backbone in this team fight. Beautifully done by him, finding Kobbe on an overextension, and on the back end of that, another kill, buying Fnatic time into this game, if not a small advantage.
And you can see how crucial each individual ability is. That Rocket Grab hits, Oscar is not the one that can clean up the end of the fight.
He's definitely not. Now, Junghoon getting hit by himself here, everyone turning onto Razork, and now Astralis feeling themselves after they get another kill, not respecting the fact that he does so much damage. Rocket Slam comes out, good disengage immediately, and then it's all about playing with the range. Reckless is excited, Humanoid is getting the damage down, and then it's just the accelerated shock blast at the end of that.
And where does that leave us in terms of gold and kills? 16-16, 1,000 gold separates these teams. Remember, each squad
Leader's down towards the bottom side. He does have teleport, and it will have to be expended here. Fnatic has started up the Baron.
Ooh, Guldborg teleports come in.
And it's just great. They just bait the TP. Now disengage. Might even look for play.
Death Sentence lands onto Finn. His counter-strike is needed. The prison goes wide. The Rocket Grab catches onto Razork, and Fnatic are not near. Humanoid's going to be late to the party. Astralis have got the kill. The Young Cats are flying forward, and Finn, who was the first target, stuns up too. Reckless, no flash, no ghost. Finn buys some from the rest of the squad. That's a double for leader. Oscar Rinnan will ride the Lantern out, but I think Younghoon's rocket grab may be up in a moment. And Fnatic started the Baron. Fnatic started the fight, and if it's Fnatic that lose it.
They still have the poke, though. They can still play around Humanoid with the sigils. They can still play around the accelerated shock blast. That's 4 pink wards just dropped around the Baron area. They want to make sure that no one get vision of this. Now, Fnatic still stepping up. Baron almost down to half HP. Leader.
Deathmark is so good. Shadow Slash is out. Oscar Rinnan almost gets 100 to 0. Baron is down to 2,000. Humanoid's looking for Younghoon, and he gets him with the sigil. But the Baron is secured by Kabi and Astralis. They will happily trade a Blitzcrank's life for a Baron buff.
And this Baron is just the same story as the earlier one was. Fnatic looking for a fight. It looks good initially, but then the overextension comes through. Ratzok Ultimate go wide, right into a Blitzcrank hook, and at this point in time, games, or rather fight, already over for Fnatic.
Fantastic play. I mean, look, as this fight continues to play out, Astralis get their second Baron, but Fnatic fended off the first. Can they keep doing that? Can they balance out that gold lead once more? Because it feels harder and harder as the game goes on.
Yeah, most certainly. I think they still have the tools for it, but they need to be very meticulous about it. For Astralis, need to take a breather as well, not overforce it. It has been a very tense game. Communication can get a bit messed up at this point in time. With this Baron buff, need to have a good plan of what their next game plan will be. And for now, it looks like they want to set up the play around Drake.
Gulborg, the most amount of kills in a single game this spring split was 45. And it's across both teams. We are currently at 35 this game. And I will not accept this game ending unless we break that record, okay? There's no ways I can tell the teams this, but that's what I want to see. And it looks like Fnatic may want it too. 3 seconds for the Drake. Razork is going to jump, trying to back up Humanoid, who is the target. Kabi will drop him. Remember, Razork started that fight, went all the way forward throughout the prison. Astralis have the answer. Now they're in the river. They have to deal with the poke, but it does look like they have control. How bold are Fnatic feeling?
Yeah, look at Finn around here. He's sleeping around the area. He does have a pink board if he wants to flank, but he's actually just looking at the bottom, inhibit the turret. Seeing as Oscar Rinnan goes back to defend it, he drops that plan and they get to Drake and they can set up for their next siege if they would like to. Looks like they need a reset after that skirmish.
Can I just ask him to zoom out and look at the scoreboard here? 113's 2-6-15. So he's involved in 17 of the team's 19 kills. Jonghoon, 0-4-16. 16 of his team's 19 kills. And there's 15 follow-up there from Kabi. The game has really been played around that trio. Obviously, Finn and Lead have been playing the side lane, so they're less involved. But almost everything kind of starts and ends with the Maokai, the Xayah, the Blitz. 1-1-3 Kabi and Jonghoon, and they're having a phenomenal performance, which is why their team is still maintaining control. They're 4 minutes away from the Mountain Soul. You combine that with Jax, the ultimate, Maokai and Blitz, and
Oscar,
good position to be in.
Collapsed on here. You do have teleport. You have no flash. Younghoon coming for the long flank. Leader just across. Have you overstepped? You're welcome.
Looks to be the case. Deathmark, all the shurikens fly. Rocket grab may not even be needed. So Oscar Rinnan is just chunked out. That is not your lane. That is not your rift. And that means Astralis now have a man advantage with Baron for another 10 seconds, so I think they'll just about time out as they hit the inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, the thought process of Oscar there was, let me push out this wave as long as possible, just so I can buy my team more time, more space. Unfortunately, goes for one wave too deep, and Astralis is quite quickly there to punish it. Now in a 4 versus 5 situation, how do they want to play it? Leader still has teleport, so he's up towards the top side, answering a wave. Humanoid just pushed in. 4 members down towards the bottom. Versus 5, now the Humanoids are joined. Looking for the hook, doesn't find it.
This is so well done by Astralis. Leader's going to catch and push the top wave. The inhibitor's broken. That teleport has been with him for a while. He's got a 40 CS lead, a 3,500 gold lead. He's got a 2-level advantage over Humanoid. And despite Humanoid being 5-0 to start this game, Astralis have found the skirmishes and the side lane pressure to enable and unlock this Zed, who is now looking to get the damage down. Deathmark without a lot of follow-up. Almost all was needed to kill Humanoid. The flash forward, the ethereal change, the backup from Fnatic. Leader will get taken out by the Super Mega Death Rocket. 38 kills. We're 7 away from tying, 8 away from setting the kill record in Spring Splits.
Yeah, tense between Humanoid and Leader there. As you can see, as soon as Humanoid goes in there and he gets ulted, he ease behind him, because no matter what, Set will always come behind you. That's why Leader is pressing his W as soon as possible, so he'll not get hit by the chains. And if those triple shurikens would have hit Humanoid, he would have probably gone down. But Humanoid feeling himself this game, just flashing forward and reckless. Super Mega Death Rocket. That's our game.
Oh, what a great animation.
Oh, he has a face? I've never seen that.
What do you mean he has a face? He has a face!
It's like a metal
You
helmet.
are one of the smartest people I know, League of Legends. And the statement when you see that is, he has a face. What did you think
I've
was
never
under
seen
the mask?
I don't know, shadows? I don't know.
My
Some
words.
hidden dark pact he made. You gave up your flesh, you're now... Okay, whatever, back to the game.
Leader's face is plastered all over the kill scoreboard. 7, 4, and 5. Him and the rest of Astralis looking to close this out. So they've got control of the Rift. They've got supers in the bottom lane. A minute to Baron, 2 minutes to the Mountain Soul. And a pool 1 confirmed seed if they pick up this win against Fnatic.
And I just can't believe we are actually going to come down to a soul fight. Like, when we started out the game, how late it all came.
15 minutes, the latest first dragon.
It is definitely going to be interesting. Finn pushing pressure on the top side. Astralis trying to facilitate that with some vision. And not only that, also some of the saplings just aid that with the pressure that Finn just put in top side. It's going to have to be responded by some of the solo laners. And when that happens and Astralis comes on reset, that's where they start clearing out the vision around the Drake.
God, I hate cats. Both that one and real life. I will say though, look at the item differences as we're setting up for this final fight. A full item ahead for Kobe still, and a 2,000 gold lead. Full item ahead for leader still. So the damage disparity for the major carries in favor of the bottom. However, Oscar Renan is obviously significantly ahead of his opposite number. So those accelerated shot blasts need time to set up. I just don't think Fnatic have the vision or the time to get away from the Maokai, the Jax, the Zed that will be jumping in their faces.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult now. Even Astralis, knowing that there's no blue trinket, Reckless also just used his ultimate to get it. They're just going to start up the Baron. The Feather's going to do a shot on the Baron if he wants to call them down. Another hook from Young Hoon.
It was beautiful, and it's going to be enough to pick up Resort. Oscar Renan will be the next target as leaders jumped in, looking for another Avian by some time with a death sentence, but it simply does not matter. Astralis find 3 quick kills at 42 in the game, an exposed base, and they're going to push for the Nexus. They're going to push for that pool 1 seed.
They're going to look for it now, pushing in down towards the super minions here. Got 2 of them coming. Humanoid still around. Reckless looking for that recall. 2 versus 5. Don't think this is going to be the one where they get the base to face pop in. Humanoid still getting attacked on by Leader and Finn.
Fnatic's 4-game winning streak is about to be drawn to a close, but it was enough to get them to groups. And Astralis will send a message that the new kids in town are to be feared, to be respected, and not to be doubted. And for the regular season, your second seed will be Astralis.
You may not like it, but this is what peak European League of Legends look like. BDS and Astralis at the top. Come on.
Heretics on the blue side. I would like to bring out some fun stat about how both of Heretics' wins have been on the blue side, so they're much more favored here, but it's not true. They've won once on the blue side, once on the red side, so that's no real benefit to them to being on this blue side.
I guess.
They are the Thanos of League of Legends, but more the Thanos at the end of Endgame rather than the Thanos in the middle of Endgame. At least Sejuani taken away by Heretics. SK are going to remove the Draven, and alongside that Zeri, obviously targeting Jack Spectra down towards that bottom lane.
Yep, absolutely. Makes total sense here for SK. Jack Spectra, when he is given that freedom, often does, you know, make Heretics a lot more threatening than at times they may seem. The 2 and 6 scoreline doesn't quite do them justice throughout the entirety of their split so far here, as Annie is going to join the ban table. I'm wondering if we're going to get 3 AD carry bans, whether they're going to actually go towards the Xayah or not here for SK, whether or not they'll actually move away from the AD carries. I feel like, though, looping back into what Gorborg's talking about in the Telestrator, it's really, really important for Team Heretics to draft agency, but also be confident and move forward together. And I feel like that has been the key lacking thing for them.
Part of that comes from simplicity as well. Like, pick things that can just press R together, that can go in together. The Rakan taken away from Mercer, probably his most successful champion so far this year, so no real surprises there. And immediately Xayah locked in for Jack Spectra, will be his 2nd game on it in Spring Split. SK Gaming obviously still fighting to be out of 7th place. If they lose, they could still drop into the lower bracket, lower part of our group stage bracket, and could be picked by BDS or Astralis when we get to the draw show, which is at the end of the show today. Even if we have a tiebreaker, it will be after the tiebreakers. So make sure to stick around after the games have concluded.
Absolutely. And now SK, they go towards the Varus, strong early laning phase into the Xayah, and then the Maokai as well. So a lot of immediate poke that you have to walk into here. So for SK, getting forward into objectives is going to be critical, but this is what I love to see from Team Heretics here. Vi plus Ahri, immediate mid lane and jungle agency. Once that level 6 comes in, Certus is going to have to play very carefully, and actually with that in mind, I'm curious about what he's going to play here. Will there be something like Taliyah to try and shut down on some of the mobility of these picks, or will it be something a little bit closer towards like an Akali, an assassin pick, effectively, that's hyper-mobile to try and just, you know, survive the early laning phase, but then blow up one of the squishies on the back line?
Oh, for the moment, they're going to leave it for the second rotation. Jax locked in for Irrelevant up towards that top lane. Means that SK can ban out some of the top lane answers to the Jax if they so desire. Gragas, one of those, and they will take him out of the pool. I do like the RE for Ruby, as you say, the synergy with the jungler, but also the fact that Ruby's had one game on it in spring, and it was a very good game for him. 4-1 and 16, I believe, against Mad Lions. Needs another performance like that if they are going to challenge SK today.
Absolutely, and now Team Heretics doing their due diligence and removing away the Ashe on the bottom side. They don't want to run into a double AD carry inside the lane. That would be a little bit oppressive. Already the 1-to-1 AD carry matchup can be a little bit rough in the early stages. Wouldn't be surprised here. I was actually going to mention maybe removing away Evi's Cassante, just because it's Evi, and Cassante has been quite synonymous with him, but also the Kennen makes perfect sense, a lot of backline threat, and right now there's not necessarily anything that could stop him from finding backline access, as well as it just being a very good one-to-one matchup into Jax in the early laning phase. So I think now Team Heretics, you could try and pin down something that you don't want to have to deal with in the mid lane, but I also feel like you're quite open to just remove away another DOS, engage champion potentially. The choice is theirs, time's ticking, we'll see what they go for.
Well, Renata's going to be the option. I wonder if SK, I was thinking maybe you'd go for something like a Braum here as your support. It gives you a bit of safety. If the Vi goes in, you can put the Unbreakable behind her so the defenders can't get through. It's not the best. Doesn't give you that much push in the lane either, but it gives you a bit of protection for your backline. Yeah,
the team fighting's going to be fine, and you've got quite a few ore attackers already. It's just about the laning phase, right? Yeah. I think when you've already got Varus, you want to try and draft something to sort of be in line with that and try it and, you know, push the envelope in the lane. And I think for Certus going towards this Azir here makes a lot of sense. You can outrange the Ahri in the early laning phase, and when it comes to the level 6 mark, all you have to do is just kind of dash back, not get hit by the charm. Even if the Vi ult connects, as long as you try and create as much distance as you can, you can often find yourself safe from those ganks. But I expect this now from Team Heretics. Leona, Nautilus, anything like this to just go forward. You could also technically go Lulu, but I really would like to see more proactivity here. Yeah,
get some engage, something to follow up alongside that Vi. Even initiate for the Vi. A long-range depth charge can allow the Vi then to chase in. Malphite's something we have seen a little bit here in the LEC over the last week or so.
I would like it here. I think it makes so much sense.
Yeah, the Alistair has to be a bait, right?
Yeah, no, it's just fun. It got buffed, and I remember a couple of people like, I mean, AP Alistair top? Probably not.
Okay. Back to the Cassante. It seems for Heavy will be locked in the end. Not quite as much follow-up as something like a Malphite, but is a very strong disruptive tank if you can get him into team fights.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like when you take a look at SK's composition, it's not necessarily going to have access to damage to burst out an all-out Cassante until around 2 items. So I don't mind it if Team Heretics here, when you look at the composition, it's about going forward. And you called out the Braum, it makes sense. It's a Nautilus blind, I know, you're amazing medic, but for SK, it's all about CC, it's all about team fighting, it's, you know, just about neutralizing what Heretics are trying to do, because what Heretics want to do is move forward and move forward a damn lot.
And I think I totally agree with your read that push prio is really important down towards the bottom side, but if I'm SK, I just say, I mean, they have a lot of tools to get on us, let's just disengage a couple of times. Like, a Gragas would have been great as well, but Braum does exactly that. The Azir, Emperor's Divide, the Nature's Grasp, you have so many tools just to distract Heretics for as long as possible, to divert their attention somewhere else, and then you can look to step back forward with the Jax and with the Azir.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's going to be the name of the game. I think for SK as well, get in front of the objective first, going to be very, very crucial, just to ensure that even though Heretics don't really care what way they go, they're probably going to be going in. For SK, it's about getting those optimal team fight setups, and if you're checking into Fog, it's going to be rough against so much engage.
It really is. Heretics' lives on the line, have to win this to at least get a tiebreaker with Mad Lions. Of course, they need Mad Lions to lose in the next game against G2 as well. SK Gaming already into the group stage, but can still get a more favorable berth if they are able to win this one. huge game for these players. Some of them, especially players like Jankos, who've had actually some pretty exceptional splits, have to be able to perform when it matters most. Let's get into it. Heretics versus SK.
Hello.
Not sure what that was, but it was very enthusiastic.
It was.
Which I like. I like it when the crowd, you know, it starts to build up some of the hype with finals, you know, groups and playoffs all being here in the LEC studio. It's great to have loud voices in the crowd who help bolster all of our moods as we get towards the end of spring. Crazy that we've already been through 2 splits. Well, 1.5 so far.
Yeah,
when other teams are just rounding out their first.
It's strange, you know.
Yeah.
I've come over from the LPL, and we haven't even started playoffs yet.
Yeah.
Like spring playoffs. So feels odd. Does feel odd, but
it's good for us as well. We're seeing new teams actually rise to the fore. You know, BDS and Astralis up near the top. SK have been another team that have really performed above expectations, I think, coming through this year. The end of this the spring split has been perhaps a little bit more under the weather for them, a little bit more disappointing, but still looking to get into our top 6. Well, they're already in our top 8, so looking to get into the top 6 for the group stage. They went for an invade here, was spotted on a ward. They swept that ward out. Markoon can smite the red, secure that. Will go for the Razor Beaks as well, while Jankos is going to start on his top side of the map.
now we actually saw something very similar against Team Heretics the other day in their Astralis matchup, where Astralis had a very similar invade to this, where effectively Jankos was kind of cornered off to one quadrant, and he did end up eventually getting a CS lead, but what it did do was shut down a lot of early access to lanes. Markoon's just going to go for a passover and again just continue to keep him in one quadrant. So we're going to have to very eagerly track exactly what Jankos is going to do with that in mind. That's a flash forward.
They need one more minion for the level 2. They get it now. Mercer can look for the hook. Lands as well. Concussive Blow's doing a lot of work. DOS low, down to 150 HP, but able to walk away. DOS and Extra Kick chugging through those potions. There's a biscuit for Extra Kick as well. He can use that at any moment to try and get a little bit of extra health back. We see that bot lane pushing in, expected from Mercer and Jack Spectra. Irrelevant stacking a wave up towards this top side here, diving in with the counter-strike as well, just to chip away at the Cassante.
Yeah, but Markoon was pathing down towards the bottom side, and I expect that's where a lot of the action is still going to remain. Jankos done his 3 camps, and he now is looking for more farm, and he's got mid lane priority from Ruby, so not necessarily going to be alone for the immediate. But Markoon being very, very apprehensive about his pathing, going down towards the Gromp first, because he knows with Team Heretics having priority, this invade could definitely happen. Will be spotted out. How much disruption will Team Heretics be willing to throw his way? The Gromp's going to reset, so there's a little bit of damage done, a little bit of tempo earned back, but will they fight for this blue buff?
It looks like they're going to. Jankos has the smite, so does Markoon. No vision for SK. Smite goes down. Jankos gets a buff back. Net loss of 1 camp for him. He lost the Razor Beaks and his red, and only was able to steal away the blue, but overall, a good little gain back. He could even go for double scuttle here as well, knowing that Markoon's on the bottom side of the map, gets this bot side, and then could go all the way through mid to make sure that he gets both of the crabs.
Yep, I like this play overall though, because you saw Merza, Jack Spectra, they got super aggressive from the level 1. It's kind of one of the few windows you have in a bot lane like this to get aggressive without potentially just getting punished back with the concussive blows. So trying to just secure Jankos a little bit more, and also just using that lane priority, and also just covering to ensure that Markoon doesn't get down there. Really, really solid sequence of plays, and then we'll just return back to his Krugs. So nothing over the top, but at the very least, Heretics responding to that level 1 invade.
Yeah, and yesterday we saw Jankos really put behind in the early game. Really, his ability to play around the map was very much neutralized by his opposition. Here, you can see Heretics investing a little bit more into him. Ebby looking for the Q3 knockback. The Intofo strikes, irrelevant flash and counter flash. Jump forward with the lead strike. One more auto, not in range. Ebby didn't have the Q3, just Q1 there to chip away at Irrelevant once again, but the wave not in the best of states for the Heretics top laner. I think Irrelevant might actually be able to hold it outside his tower range, establish a freeze up towards that top lane, and Ebby is going to be calling for Jankos' help pretty soon.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine the lane state as it is. Teleport comes out. I think Irrelevant will probably be forced to teleport as well. Yeah. And then it should just neutralize out as Jankos being on the top side. Markoon's not really giving it much attention. Feels like it's not necessarily worth it, because at the end of the day, 2v2 can be a little bit awkward with Maokai sometimes. It's all about like first pounce, things like this. Whoever's getting the first amount of burst damage on a target in a matchup like that. Level 6 just gets even more volatile as well, all out Jack's ult. So I think just leaving it for now because they don't want to necessarily make it a volatile lane.
Right, understandably, right? Irrelevant has had this Jax banned out against him a lot, but it is one of his signature picks when he can get his hands on it. Very impactful, I think, alongside Nai. Jankos is going to work his way up towards this top side. Wave, as we said, for Ebby, a little bit further forward than perhaps he would like. Jankos just covering Ebby now, and Tofu strikes coming out. No flashes on either of these top laners, remember. And whoever loses this bout, whoever loses this battle, has no TP and no flash. So getting back to the lane is going to be tricky.
Ooh. Likely
To lose some plates. Counter-Strike being used by Irrelevant. The wave stacking up now towards Ebby.
It's a fair window, but I feel like Jankos, having not reset yet, just doesn't really fancy his chances.
It's like one of those old school windows at the front of, you know, those big stately homes. You know, it's a fair one with draped curtains, maybe stained glass.
Right.
It's quite a nice window for him to go for something, but he decides against it. Perhaps worried about the glass.
Worried about
That was one of my worst jokes ever.
I was wondering where he was going with that.
I'm so sorry, Gerardo. That was awful.
It's okay. It's all right. You know, I'm not
It's
going
been
to
a
rub
long
your face in
weekend,
it.
my dude. I've been playing, I've been in the D4 beta the entire time.
Oh,
you know,
man.
channeling my necro skills.
Right.
Necromancers, I think I associate with a lot because they're just doctors who arrived a little bit too late. You know?
Someone really liked that joke in the crowd.
It's like, you're sad about your nan dying? Don't worry, I can bring her back. She's doing the dishes right now.
Oh, God.
SK gonna set up this Drake, though. You can see Heretics maybe looking for something. Ruby's coming down as well, but the Dragon already secured as the smite comes in for SK. Heretics were a little late to the punch. The hook goes down, but Dos, once again, puts the Unbreakable down. Jankos trying to put the damage back in. Emperor's Divide coming out, dodged away by Heretics. Jankos invests the flash to do so.
Yeah, that choke is just so dangerous for Team Heretics to overchase into Braum, Azir. And you can see how much respect was paid by Team Heretics after the initial dredge line. They kind of just backed away, immediately flashed out once Certus went in. But there's Certus flashed down, so potentially Ruby, once Jankos hits level 6 as well, could be an angle. There's probably a brief window where Jankos should hit 6 and there shouldn't be a wall available to Certus. It's a lengthy cooldown, still a minute and a half left. Let's see if that can get punished. But Dragon secured by SK. Minimal damage. Feels alright.
Overall, just that one flash burnt for it. So SK will be pretty happy with how that's gone. Gold lead at the moment for Heretics, but only it's about 400 or so. And well, perhaps Jankos may be looking down towards the bottom lane here. Mercer has the Hex Flash, no vision for SK. Jankos not yet level 6, but 1 minion's XP is really all he needs. Jack Spectre will order it. There it is, cease and desist. Flash away by Exekick with the chases on. Dots puts up the Unbreakable. Once again, Jack Spectre able to dodge to the side of the wall. Exekick is ticking, but not quite enough in the end. He will fall. Dots flashes. The Ignite on Jankos will not be enough, and Heretics find first blood.
Really valiant effort from Dos. He was holding the angle between Jack Spectre and Exekick, but not quite enough. Too much damage, too much CC. And even with the flash, no heal if he just had it. Just burned it at the Dragon. Could have maybe walked out with his life. But on the opposite side, in response, Marcoon is on this Herald, but Ebby is going to interrupt it, and so is Ruby. Marcoon's probably going to have to flash.
Charm. Marcoon still has the flash. Twisted advance, knocks them back and flashes over the wall to get to safety. Do they keep the Herald aggroed? Certus, ultimate, probably about 25 seconds away from coming back up. If they can keep this Herald aggroed, though, Jankos on his way instead. Patience runs out, and the Herald has other engagements, it seems.
Yeah, big win for Team Heretics, denying that as they made the play on the bottom side. That's why Marcoon was up there, but this is all about the play here. Flash away, and again, just look at Dos trying his best, blocks the dredge line, tries to get in the middle of Exekick and Jack Spectre, but just can't quite do it. And actually, I want to say really credit to Mirza, locks him down to ensure that the angle can't be held.
And that's the difference between fighting a choke point like they did against around the Dragon and fighting in the open. When you're in the open, you can walk around the wall. But when the wall blocks off the entirety of the passageway, it becomes a little bit trickier. You have to get a bulldozer or a sledgehammer or something to knock that darn thing down. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to find the fight.
Exactly. Very, very rough. Now, we'll see how SK are going to try and reapproach this Herald as Marcoon is on it yet again. There's a couple of resets coming out from Team Heretics, so this might just be a bit of a freebie, to be entirely honest with you. Evi's gone back, Ruby's just teleported back to the mid lane, and Jankos is down here looking for the blue buff second spawn.
I'm going to be honest, if I'm Heretics, I'm probably thinking about how do we kill this bot lane over and over again while their flashes aren't up, rather than how can we secure the Herald, and that's exactly what they're doing. Cease and desist available for Jankos once again, the TP coming out, there's the dredge, the depth charge, but with the TP used, Heretics just back away. Abby can TP, can just fight up in that top lane as Irrelevant was taking tower plates. You can see Certus joins up in the mid lane. Ruby came across as well as they look to take away this blue. Rift Herald secured for Marcoon, but net positive, you feel, for SK as they did get the Herald and only had to burn a TP to do so. Nature's Grass coming out. Mercer tanks it. Not sure he knew that one was on its way. Cease and desist onto Marcoon up towards the top side. Mercer the sacrifice for Heretics. Marcoon going forward. Ruby going back. Great better usage there from Jack Spectre to get away with the Featherstorm. Certus looking for the double root once again. The feathers pulled back. Charm used on DOS. Ruby's going to try and fight the support up towards the top side. Certus trying to put the soldiers down to kill off Jack Spectre, and we'll get him under the tower. But with the Vault Breaker coming in, DOS already dead. Jankos looking for more. The Emperor's Divide's only going to buy you a second here, Certus. Those bodyguards can't do too much against the oncoming Heretics. Mercer here will look for the CC. Roots up Certus, locks him in place, and Jankos takes the kill.
Yeah, give it to Jankos, why not? Ruby's already got 2 kills. Really, really solid play here for Team Heretics. Responding to what was an SK engage. It was SK looking for this. Like you said, Mercer maybe didn't see it, maybe just didn't have to tank it. I don't think he can really get out of the way of it, to be honest with you. And just gets locked down, but on the top side, immediate response from Ruby, from Jankos, and this is what we need. Just consistent in follow-up with the charm, but this Featherstorm from Jack Spectre so good, and also the pullback interrupting Certus from potentially getting a bit of an immediate shuffle, because it's a really weird angle. He could maybe pull him back in. Sometimes the sweep is a bit inconsistent. Ruby gets chased down on DOS, and eventually Jack Spectre just gets stabbed in the back at the very end of it.
Well, in the end, they are able to get that final kill with it, a 1.2k gold lead hit for Heretics, and such an important game for them as well. You can see Jack Spectre and Ruby topping the gold charts, but just to remind you all of what's on the line here for Heretics, the way they get into a 2-way tie with Mad Lions, we play a tiebreaker game at the end of the day. Is XL losing to BDS? Well, that's happened.
Yep.
Now Heretics have to beat SK, and then Mad Lions have to lose to G2 for Heretics to have a tiebreaker game to make it into the group stage. For the moment, though, SK want a little bit more action. Mercer's going to try and hook himself away, down to 200 HP. Marcoon on the chase, DOS dashing forward as well. Hits him with the Winter's Bite.
That's a lot of damage.
On the side, Jack Spectre putting out the DPS. DOS already down, another hook hits. In the midst of it all, they find extra kick, a charm once again. And Heretics will not be silenced. They are unwilling to give up the ghost quite yet, as they manage to pick up 3 kills, 4 kills in fact, and take a 2,000 gold lead.
Heretics showing up big here. SK kind of just over chasing, feeling a little bit frustrated maybe that they lose the dragon in the fashion they do. And remember, it's their comp that Flourish isn't going backwards. They're chasing into the choke this time. They just get eaten up by all of the AoE. I think it was mostly Ruby. Even Jankos knocks back 3 people, I think, with the ultimate. So it's all about this initial engage. Merz gets really chunked out, and they just see a bit of red as they chase in. And I'm not entirely sure really that they even have to go for this. They can go back towards the bottom side. There are quite a few other options they can look for here, but all of this AoE is nasty. DOS gets one shot. Dredge line in the middle of all of that as well. Mercer gives over his life, but I don't think he cares. 4 members go down, and even Evie gets involved in the mix as well. And that's so much gold going over to the core carries.
Yeah, and super solid play from Heretics, doing exactly what their composition wants to do, although perhaps a little bit more on the back foot than the front foot than we expected. Coming through the draft phase, getting that dragon as well stops SK from having any possibility of dragon stacking. You can see Jack Spectre able to kite back well on the Xayah there. And Ruby once again on the RE. 3-0-3 seems to be a pick that works for him right now. Did when they played up against Mad Lions earlier in the split, and now once again starting to show just how good he can be. It is a low damage pick though, Everfrost especially. I'm sure Nymera somewhere is crying and his PC starting typing out the tweets already.
I think what we need next from Ruby is
the book.
No, it's not the book. It's what's the item called? The Horizon Focus.
Oh yeah.
And then the tweets will come out.
But if he goes the book, then he is all is forgiven. If he gets Medjai second, he's got 9 stacks.
So someone shouting
by the book. It might be Nymera. I don't know.
Who knows? So I think I haven't spoken to Nymera about it in a while, because whenever he speaks about it's like if I try and bring up Kane, it's just like it's just bad. I'm not gonna do it. But I think it's Deathcat and the book, and then he's happy.
Okay.
But if it's Horizon Focus, then we'll see it.
Everfrost, of course, does give you a little bit more CC
oh, yeah.
in the early game. So it's an understandable purchase. We'll see where Ruby goes from here. And as you say, perhaps both of us not the best to judge Ruby's build.
Hey, I normally go by, I won't judge a pro player's build unless it genuinely makes no sense. Like, unless it actually just makes no sense at all.
I get that.
Yeah.
I guess that. He is the primary AP on his team, so we'll see how much damage he can put out through the rest of the game. Jack Spectra looking for the tower in the bottom lane, but won't quite find it yet. 15 minutes into the game, there's a 3,000 gold difference between these two teams, well, 2.6k. But at the moment, you can see where that gold lies. The carries of Heretics are ahead. 1,000 gold in the mid lane, 1,000 gold down towards the bottom lane. And if Heretics can continue this pressure, they're looking for that tiebreaker versus Mad Lions at the end of today. The question is, what do they have to do, Jamada? Like, what if you were Heretics right now and you could do a tactical timeout, yeah? We're Valorant now, right? You can say, okay, guys, tactical timeout. We're on Dust 2.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
You know, I always thought, just before I answer your question,
sure.
it would be really, really cool if we could have tac pauses, but like maybe the coaches could only watch from like the Team Heretics perspective,
Yeah, if you
or
could
like
only have
from
your
one
own
side.
fog of war, because otherwise you'd be like control war here, control war here.
That would be silly.
Yeah.
But oh, hello, team fight.
Oh, tactically, it's a TP towards the top lane. Irrelevant dashing away with the leap strike, charmed up, rooted up, Pepper Frost being used. Irrelevant doesn't even have time to flash, doesn't even get an opportunity to use it. The Heretics take their time out and put Irrelevant in one as well.
Yeah, so I was going to say Herald, and you can do that a couple of different ways. Deny vision in the river, look for a pick around the objective, and they've gone for the latter, and they've gotten Irrelevant. So 4v5, they could even find Certus here, face check.
He's got the crown. Can Emperors divide them back? Crown, of course, gives you that brief window, about 2 seconds or so, where you take massively reduced damage. Getting it off is, of course, important, but it's going to be back up in about, I don't know, 40 seconds time or so shouldn't be too much of a loss there for Certus. The ultimate, though, it's a bit of a loss if another fight does happen. It will only be Ocean Drake on the menu for either of these teams.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like Team Heretics want to give it up. Evi's been pulled off this tower on the top side. Doesn't have teleport, so he's walking his way down. SK have control of the bottom side for now. So it does mean that Team Heretics are going to have to walk into a couple of saplings, maybe a little bit of poke from the Varus, but it's on hit, so it's not necessarily hitting as hard as it could. But Team Heretics don't care about this control on the bottom side. Just going for the mid lane charge, they'll get the tier 1. Should probably get taken down here by Certus. And now actually, Master's paying attention to the mid lane. SK just entirely yielded this, deciding to cross map for the top side. Definitely understand it to a point just because of how strong Team Heretics are right now. Yeah,
it's a net 2 towers for a tower and a dragon. You know, they got bot lane tower, they got top lane tower, and they get the push in from Irrelevant. So overall for SK, they're probably up in terms of gold, but of course dragons give you a gold value inherently in them. So Heretics will be happy enough with this overall. And for the moment, both the teams comfortable enough in this situation. You can see Execute going, as you say, on hit. It's the Immortal Shield Bow into Ginsu's build. I was wondering if perhaps he'd want to go the mix build, the red build with a bit of AP here with the Rabadons, but usually you do that into a health stackers on the enemy team, and here you're not really seeing too much of that. Maybe Ebi's going to stack a little bit of it. Jankos could do that as well, but we'll see if Execute decides that that flavor of the month build is his priority this game.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe not.
I mean, that's true.
I haven't actually seen that build yet.
It happened earlier today, so Crowny built it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He went Zonya's and then he went. Yeah,
you get basically your blight stacks do percentage max HP damage and it scales off AP. So Rabadon Zonya's is often seen. Ruby perhaps a little bit pushed up here. Does have the Spirit Rush though. Marcoon's gonna wait. Just smites him.
It's a dominant smite, you know.
Yeah.
Just
and he's got another one up in 10 seconds. It's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, gosh, that I still don't like how low cooldown RER is. Anyway, moving aside before we trigger Nightmare again.
But Nightmare will be happy because it's Rabadon second.
It's Deathcap second, and he's got 10 stacks on the ring.
It could be. It could be the build. We can see Peter Dunn just calling up Nightmare. It's like, mate, is this right? Is this a good one? Okay, tack time out, everyone, quick. Work it out. But yeah, for the moment, as I said, Heretics in a very strong position here. 2 items on Ruby for that next dragon as well. He's got 3 minutes to farm up the required gold. We'll see exactly where he is in terms of total gold as I find the button. This one.
There you go.
There we are. Yeah, so he's only got 400 gold in his inventory right now, but he'll be getting a little bit more, obviously, before the next dragon spawns. And my expectation is that things will slow down a little bit here, Jamada, before that dragon comes out. You know, Heretics don't mind waiting for it, and SK will be happy enough to try to get towards their second items on their carries.
A lot of scaling available to SK, just flatly. Jax, Azir, on-hit Varus. a lot of damage can be offered up, but they need the items to do it. Whereas for Team Heretics, they're about to encroach on those points, right? The very quick blade just picked up for Jack Spectra, and Ruby, like we were just talking about, approaching that decap. So I assume once we get to that third dragon, Team Heretics are going to very happily rock up and look for a skirmish. I guess the response will be, or the question we'll have to ask is what the response will be from SK. Will they just give it up? Do they feel like they need more time? Because I feel like the immediate answer is yes. They are miles away from their iron spikes right now. They're not really in a position where they're inherently winning out on the side lane either. It's going to take a little bit more time until Jax kind of outscales that 1v1. So I think just trying to not necessarily sit on your hands, but just try and strip away what you can on the map, whilst Team Heretics go for the very telegraphed objectives here.
You're building up your reserves, right?
Yeah.
You're getting some money in the bank. You're making sure that you are in a position, perhaps at the next Drake, or even perhaps the Drake after that, to take a fight. Depends on exactly how things go in the meantime. And at 20 minutes in, though, Heretics in a strong position this game. 2,500 gold ahead. The Baron, they're setting up around it, but I don't really expect either team will want to try and make a play for it. Maybe SK could look for something sneaky. Azir does do a lot of damage to it, and on hit Varus will help, but with it only being crowned so far on the Azir as well, it is going to take you a little bit of time to chunk through it.
The only thing I would call out is maybe they look for like a cheeky blast cone play over the wall whilst Team Heretics are going for the third dragon. I actually wouldn't quite mind that at all. The blast cone I don't think is quite there.
It's not on the map right now, so it's still a while away from spawning. You do start to see it when it's, I think it's within a minute.
Yeah, to my knowledge, it's 45 seconds. 45 a minute, 45 seconds.
Somewhere in that area to spawn. And second item now complete on both Certus and Exakick, so probably more likely to look for that battle when it does come to the Drake. So let's have a look at where we are in terms of vision. Basically, SK have some vision in their own jungle. They've got one control ward sitting by where the red buff is.
It's not very deep,
Heretics. Not deep at all, but my expectation is now, if you are Heretics, what you do is you slowly push up, you get the mid lane prior, which is exactly what they're doing with Jack Spectra, and you use Ebby and Jankos to work your way into this blue side jungle, deny some vision, and with 40 seconds left, that's exactly what they're going to do. SK don't have many control wards and no sweepers, well, only one sweeper up right now, so it would take them a little bit of time to regain this control.
Honestly, I would love this Baron Gambit if they try and do it over the wall, but I don't know if the blast cone has yet to spawn up. I don't think it will. And the teleporting Certus to the mid lane, so that signals to me potentially that they want to try and regain mid lane priority here as a 5-man and then brute force into the river. The issue is Team Heretics are so set up here already that even if they get mid lane prior, it won't quite matter, as all 5 members ARAMing here.
We do love a good ARAM here. Looks like SK are just going to try and push their way through mid down towards this Drake. Jankos working his way around in a good position. Jack Spectra starts up the Ocean Drake. Heretics lives in the spring split on the line right now. Ward cleared away. SK stepping forward. Marcoon on the front line. Ruby gets the charm onto Irrelevant and gets him down to half HP. Dragon down to 2,000, as you say. It's gone. Jankos gets it. But immediately we see Ebby dropping as well. He was just a distraction, but Jack Spectra. Oh, the cleanse coming out. However, Mercer still rooted up. Charm once again from Ruby. Irrelevant trying to come in from the side as well. Mercer flashes away with the death charge. Irrelevant's going to die towards the top side of the fight. He flashes the counter-strike. Not enough. 2 for 1 so far in favor of SK. For the moment, that's all she wrote. Dragon secured for Heretics. 5 minutes on the Ocean Soul for them.
Yeah, I mean, 2 for 1. Team Heretics, they'll take it even losing those 2 members, because I don't really feel like SK can inherently force a Baron here on this little window that they have for themselves with a numbers advantage. Ebby would be able to teleport back onto the map. Could maybe force a little bit more than this tower, but step back from Ruby and Jankos means that won't be the case. So they trade the tower. It's not ideal because they were looking for that fight very, very proactively, as Replay, it's kind of split on 2 fronts. You've got Team Heretics in the river. Ebby steps a little bit too far forward and gets 1 shot, whereas Ruby was kind of just toying with Irrelevant, and this ultimate here cleansed the way by Jack Spectra. And Mercer could have been in a lot more trouble immediately, but does buy a lot of time, whilst SK, very focused, and so is Irrelevant on trying to get down there, just gets cut off and wasn't quite expecting Jankos and Ruby to come at the angle that they did.
And it is a bit of a struggle when you're playing these sort of pincer maneuvers. It can be hard to be aware of every single player at every single time, especially when you're walking into the enemy's vision line. Mercer, Hex flashes forward, hits with the Winter's Bite. Certus could slide in here. Mercer chipped away out just a little bit. Of course, concussive blows doesn't really work off the soldier's auto attacks, only works off champion auto attacks, so would be a little bit broken.
I was about to say, could you imagine how strong that would be? if it did.
If that was how it worked. It looks like Exakick is going to stick with the conventional on-hit Varus build here. Don't really need more AP from the team, so not really too surprised. And as we said earlier, not too much max HP stacking on the other side. TP down towards the bottom lane. Irrelevant does have a TP to get out. Everfrost being used. There's the Charm. Counter-Strike coming out as well. The All-Out. Deep Strike away. Ruby, no Spirit Rush charges left, but Evie has enough chase potential to do everything that's needed. Ruby gets the kill. Baron, though, started, it seems.
Nope.
Nope. Marcoon's just clearing a wall.
Setup wasn't good enough.
Baited by the mini-whip.
Setup wasn't good enough for SK, and I think Team Heretics just read that excellently. They just say, you know what? You're not in a position to start Baron if we go for this cross-map play. Doesn't matter if you've got all of those saplings there in the bush waiting menacingly, the little presents, gift wrapped.
It's not too much damage from that, though, because it's the Radiant Virtue Maokai, right?
Yeah.
And no first strike, just the aftershock. Knows that he is the primary engage for this team. He is going in. Knight's Vow second as well.
Yeah, I do like the build. I'm quite, what's the word? I'm quite partial to, you know, full-blown support Maokai. I think it's
the
actually,
Moonstone.
Yeah, the Moonstone Redemption.
build, yeah.
I mean, generally, I just feel like Redemption plus Moonstone or Redemption plus Radiant Virtue is just ridiculously broken. Yeah. Especially in comp, where playing Radiant Virtue and you're playing jungle, normally you press your R key around every single member next to you, so you're healing them for like 2k a proc. It's a bit absurd. But we haven't seen it here today.
No, not yet. It could still be.
Redemption could still come in. Yeah.
Knight's Vow Radiant Virtue, it's a possibility. We'll see if we get there as well, though, because Heretics have 2 minutes left before the Ocean Soul is on the map for them. At the moment, they're just going to gain control over the vision up towards the top side. Oh, Winter's Bite just short. TP coming in, though. Jack Spectra has to get away towards the rest of his team. Irrelevant immediately locked up with the cease and desist. The Charm being used as well. Irrelevant dashes back to his team.
Of course.
Evie has a good flank position here. Ruby coming in as well. A hooks hits onto DOS. The Sun Disc goes down. SK retreat to the safety of that solar orb. And for the moment, they'll be okay. But looks like Heretics are going to start up the Baron. They'll pull SK towards them. Smite available for both junglers. No flash on Marcoon. No Nature's Grasp either. The Baron resets. And Heretics unable to find exactly what they were looking at for out of that play.
Yeah, I feel like Heretics, they wanted to turn, but when you just look at the overlay, they just don't have the kind of correct tools that they need, right? It's all the proactivity tools down, and it's mainly just the Featherstorm all out. I think they would have probably lost if they'd gone for that, so I'm glad they just disengage. Just given how they've been playing so far, it's been really, really disciplined. And again, wrapping back to that original point that we made, giving them a draft like this, Vi, Nautilus, Vi Leon, or whatever it would have been, engage, agency, and crucially, they've been on the same page so far this game. And SK just 1 or 2 oversteps like this.
Charm the Everfrost Ruby, living up to that Rabadon's death cap. Death in the name and death by nature here for Heretics. 17 seconds on the Ocean Soul. SK is still going to fight this without their Braum as the front line. Now, Abby coming in from the side. The Charm hits onto Marcoon. There's the hook follow-up. Nature's Grasp being used as well, but Jack Spectra already dishing out the DPS with the feathers. Yankos on a rampage now. On the back line, another falls. Irrelevant will die. Ruby goes godlike. Mercer looking for the hook. The Charm hits once again. And it's just demolition for Heretics.
Ruby is on point with those charms. He's dishing out so much damage. No one could get to Jack Spectra either. It's just a very clean, I suppose, front to back for Team Heretics with SK. Overcommit once with DOS, and then it's a 4v5 where they just feel like they have to commit, right? It's one of those things, you're going to lose soul if you don't. But Heretics, Evie as well, stepping forward, I think stunned 3 people with the W. Just buys so much space for them, and they get the soul. They almost get this tier 2 in the mid lane. And once they come back off of this reset, you expect Baron will be in their eyes.
Yesterday against Vitality, Heretics had some moments of brilliance, some moments of glory. Ebby especially, you know, 8-3-2, I think, on the Jacks, and when that game slipped through their fingers, I thought that was it. I thought, like, how do you come back from that as a team that has been so close so many times to picking up the wins but hasn't been able to? As Ruby once again with the Charm goes legendary. Shadow Flame third on this Ari. Ruby, just play it every game, my dude. Currently undefeated on it this split. And Heretics looking for a date with Destiny, looking for a date with Mad Lions, of course. For Heretics to make it into the group stage, they still need Mad Lions to lose the next game. Baron secured, SK maybe overstep, Mercer flashing forward. They lock up the Azir. Xertus down. Irrelevant tries to get onto the back line, but the counter-strike is counterintuitive, it feels. It baits him in, but in the end, he is able to pick up one. Exakick will fall as well. Ebby on the chase now is Irrelevant, no flash. Does have the dash, just have the jump to try and get away. But Ruby has Flash Charm. Irrelevant Jumps again with the leap strike. Ruby spirit rushes
got
back
ult
up
again.
Another counter strike for Ruby with the charm. Oh, it's delectable, it's delicious from Heretics.
He's not missing, is he?
Call him Cupid because he does not miss. These charms land every time.
And this arrow, so close. But damage just isn't there. And once the turn is on, oh boy, is it on. Certus locked up immediately on the front line, knocked up, gone. Simple as that. And we'll give credit to Irrelevant. He is 2.5 items, might be 3 at this point. Puts a lot of pressure onto Jack Spectra, takes him down, and no one from Team Heretics can necessarily deal with that diving threat. And that has to be said. That is one of the, I suppose, weaknesses of the team composition. It just sinks into his seat.
The thing is, you got a guy smacking you with a lamppost.
Yeah.
Often that's the expectation. You know, you're gonna die in that situation. All you have to do is put down as much damage as you can before you go down. But so far this game, it's been the Ruby show. I think I can name there've been 3 games where Ruby's really popped off, and one was this spring on the RE. One was his first game in the LEC on the Casio, and then this game. But when he pops, this guy just don't stop. He's like a Pringles can.
It's an explosion.
Just continues.
Oh, medic. Get in the bin.
Mark something underneath the tower here. The charm hits once again. Nature's Gasp being used. Heretics knocking on Heaven's door, it seems. And they will continue to knock, and they will take down the Inhibitor tower. Inhibitor next. SK trying to defend Irrelevant, just catching the wave in the mid lane to make sure that Heretics don't have another avenue to approach, but you don't need an avenue when you can just bash down the front door. Another hook goes in, the charm to follow, the Nexus towers to boot, it seems. Irrelevant's gonna try and join the fray, but these hooks and these charms have not missed. Cease and desist. Another charm, another Everfrost, and another kill for Heretics. SK trying to pray to God, trying to pray for a miracle, but in the face of a Heretics, your prayers mean nothing. And with the minion wave pushing in, SK can only look at a 2-man disadvantage. And look at what could have been for them this game. The Sun Disc will fall, the Emperor short to follow too. Another charm! Another kill for Heretics! And they are not done yet. Their fate lies in the hands of G2. Heretics will not give up the fight.
They refuse to go silently today. After the game yesterday, so close. Felt like sand slipping between their fingers. But today, this is everything we wanted to see from them.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Agency, Ruby being able to also follow up on the engage. We spoke about Mercer, we spoke about Jankos, but also giving Ruby the space to also play out these team fights. Crucial. Same thing for Jack Spectra, but it was the Ruby show today. But Team Heretics stepping up as a whole, and now, like you say, they've got a hot date. Potentially, G2 has to do them a solid, and they will face up against Mad Lions in the tiebreaker if the result goes their way. It's huge.
Yeah. Absolutely massive for Heretics. Obviously, fate not in their own hands, but they did everything they can do today to make sure that they have a date with the Mad Lions at the end of the day. Our next game, Mad Lions versus G2 as well. So much weight on that one. We'll see if Mad are able to claw another win, get to 4, get to the group stage. Play of the game votes at Twitter, at LEC on Twitter, not just at Twitter. Jankos, Ruby, and Jack Spectra by the book. It's true, he didn't do so.
He didn't do it in the end.
Yeah, wait.
I don't think
he went Rabadon's Shadow.
Yeah.
But still, did quite a bit DPS.
Yeah.
Boy Ruby.
I'll be honest, friends. Ruby should get MVP for
Yeah,
this
Ruby,
game.
Ruby.
Yeah.
Do you?
Ruby
This
did.
is where Betty's great, because he actually does singing lessons.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Ah. I might have to ask him.
You should.
A couple of
great singer,
lessons.
Betty.
Yeah, he is.
Give you some lessons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What you got for me?
Pardon?
What you got for me?
Oh, no, I was saying Betty could give you some
Betty
lessons.
could give me some lessons.
I just know medical
right.
stuff, man.
Right.
Anyway, hand it over to Shocks.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Thank you. I actually asked to open the mic to just say stop so you wouldn't keep singing. But it was a good catch. draft at the desk, but we have draft at the desk, and I'm so happy for it, and I'm totally prepared. Let's go.
Yeah, I think taking away that Saya as well is going to be really crucial from Kasi. I feel like it's a cheat champion to have right now on blue side because you get set up, you get self-feel. It's really easy to screw up as well. Annie, of course, is a staple, and getting rid of some of the other champions like the Draven and Maokai that Yike has been playing a lot lately, quite what's expected into G2.
I wonder now what's going to happen to Vi. That's something that Yak has been picking up again and again. I'm assuming G2 is going to ban Xayah on 3, and we might just have a standard Sejuani Vi trade. I'm wondering now what Mad Lions are going to prioritize. I kind of like that identity when they picked Seju themselves and played for a topside game, because this is something they have in the pocket as well.
Yeah, see, lately I've been theorizing the fact that Mad Lions wants to let Sejuani through. They want to go for the likes of, hey, we still have that Lilia in the back pocket if we want to bring it out every now and then, like we saw in Winter. It's not like there was any big changes towards that. There was none at all. And now 3, Xayah comes through. Now it's just the fact, are you looking for those AD carries? We've seen Virus rise a lot in priority today, but as you said yourself, there's also just the trade of either I prefer Sejuani or I prefer the Vi. For the side of Mad Lions, it's going to be the Vi.
I wonder now with G2 what direction they're going to go in, because Zeri was something that I really don't enjoy too much Hansama on, because Miki doesn't like to play the Lulus and the Yumis of the previous splits. He wants to play champions with buttons that can impact mid a lot harder. So I'm curious which direction they're going to go into. I wouldn't be surprised if Mad Lions, just because they picked Vi, that they secure Zeri themselves. I wonder if G2 is just going to go in that direction where they just go full early game. Okay, Diego, I like it.
And there you have it. And that's actually one of the first quote-unquote carry junglers that we're seeing from Yike this split. He's been fully on the supportive one with the likes of Maokai. We've also seen the Jarvan earlier. And now we're finally going to see the Viviego instead. And I think for G2 as well, in yesterday's defeat, the problem was they drafted so much scaling that they couldn't do what they would usually do, which is that early game agency, going for the playmaking. Now with this Ashe, could be a flex. Could go down towards the support with Mickey as well. Could go to Hansama. We've already seen it once. Now, what is the response going to be from Mad Lions? Still loads of different AD carries up and available. You can match it with Lux Caitlyn. Not something that we've usually seen from Kasi and Hylissang. Or you can just try and go for that Nautilus immediately. Say, I know I'm going to be behind if you flex this Ashe support. I don't care.
Yeah, it's very hard here to find a good champion for Hilly. I wonder if he's going to drop and to just pick AD and mid. They locked in the Ahri, because the issue is if you pick a melee support, enemy's going to just slam Heimerdinger on 3, Braum on 3, and these are champions that Mickey knows and loves to play. I'm hoping to just pick an AD carry here, probably Zeri, and just drop support and let Hilly go into the kitchen and put something very delicious together.
But we are geared up for mid-jungle duo coming up here as well. Of course, Ilyoya on that Vi and Niski on that Ahri instead, which allows the playmaking to come through from something Mad Lions had been so confident in doing earlier, something we've not seen too much of this split as well. And we mentioned the Varus priority. Kasi's now going to on it, and I agree. I think saving support as far as you can here, slamming that Nautilus as early with Braum being a possibility where you can just flex the Ashe AD might be a bit scary, but let's see what they're looking for here. Could just go mid lane as well beforehand if you don't want to float.
Could be Casio, could be Silas. I think like Caps has many options, but Sivir into Varus, that's pretty standard, pretty safe. But at least they reveal where the Ashe goes, which makes picking super a lot easier. But G2 do have 4 or 5 bans to target Hilly's pool in the likes of Nautilus and maybe a Pike if they're scared of it. I wonder now, in terms of the champions that Caps can play into Ahri, he could potentially play Silas on 4, he could play Casio on 4, he could even play Lissandra. There's so many champions you can pick into Ahri, and that's why we don't see it as often blind, but it worked the previous game. That's the Pike indeed. I am assuming that Nautilus is going to be the next ban. Maybe you're talking Broken Blade and his champions. I think removing Olaf could be good. Removing Jax also could be good. There's the Malphite instead.
So, still interesting, because you know from the side of G2 Esports, they're most likely just going to forfeit their mid laner. They already know where this Ahri is going, and they can just save the counter pick up on top lane for Broken Blade. So if you're banning away the Malphite, might look for an AD champion up towards the top side for Chasey. Could be the Gnar. We've already seen the Gnar into Malphite matchup one time, and Gnar struggled a little bit with the Comic Q coming out from the Malphite as well. So let's see if they want to go down the full road here, playing the Nautilus. Nautilus into Sivir.
Oh.
Not the best lane you can always go for. Can be a bit punishing on the Ashe, but not on the first few waves. That is certainly where Ashe dominates it.
Could be, I don't know, Alistar was a classic counter into Sivir.
That is very true.
Sounds a bit hard into Ashe, maybe. They have to remove the Silas, of course. I feel like G2 have so many options here on 4. I wonder if they should just slam the Olaf ban, because Olaf is so dangerous. Now, Caps, are you going to go Silas or Casio, or just going to stun us all and bring out something completely different? Caps is always You know, a gift that keeps on giving.
So that's the
Just
thing,
calm
right?
down a bit.
Because there's some teams where you just go like, all right, this is going to be silent, it's going to be a seer, they're going to save the counter pick for top side, but it's going to be cookie cutter. But this is G2, so you never really know with the prediction that it's just going to be a silence.
I feel like this split, there's been a lot more of the...
And much more stable recently, hasn't it?
it's been nice. They just want to like slap you in the best of 3s and best of 5s.
Are you more
like,
entertained this time?
maybe.
The last draft you weren't fully...
Last time?
Yeah? You
Was
weren't
I not?
fully- Yeah? No,
What are you
said-
talking about?
No,
Which
you
draft?
said entertaining. Or it was a little bit sarcastic. so I
Jace,
was
guys,
just wondering, is
Jace.
it always more exciting?
Chasey on Jace. Yes, it's a very good one. I like it.
Oh, you like it?
Because it's durable into the Olaf. I'm so scared of the Olaf 5 pick here because Ari, Vi, and Varus is already showing. I feel like Olaf could do well there, but at least Jace topside is going to be very durable. Hilly on Heimerdinger, that's kind of a bit dangerous into Ashe. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
really
say.
interesting because usually you see the Ashe being picked into the Heimerdinger, you get to take out the turrets, you get to have the range control. Turrets was also nerfed in the laning phase specifically, so Ashe has an easier time actually taking care of them.
Irelia is also strong here, but there's no leader in the game. Olaf is something Broken Blade has played a lot, so why not?
Why not? And if he does it, it'll be fantastically predicted by the Mad Lions. Chasey up in that top lane with the Jace. Now, he was, I feel like, more in winter than in spring. He was getting a lot of praise for his top lane performance,
Oh, yeah.
specifically on that Jace as well. So is that going to be the difference maker here?
I don't know if it's going to be the difference maker this game already, at least for the early game. It's going to be very bot lane centering. We're going to have a lot of bush fight for the bush control in the early game. Wouldn't surprise me if we just saw 5 members meeting down towards the bottom lane to just try and get that vision control.
I think a key detail here is just Viego is so much better to be active early. If he can find impact in the bottom side or in the top side, these matchups are so swingy. If Olaf gets ahead, GG. If Ashe and Sivir is ahead, they're going to keep pushing, and then Mickey does Mickey things where he just dominates the whole map.
Yep.
It's all about what Viego can accomplish and if they can survive until Vi 6.
But I feel like Mad Lions did make it a bit more complicated this time around. It's not the same comfort we usually see from them. They've gone for a curveball, at least in terms of what we've come to see from them when they're at their best. It's going to be really interesting to see how they now pilot this one with specifically Hylissang and a Heimerdinger here.
We'll see indeed. By the book I saw there, the sign. We'll see if Niski goes for it. The handshake is coming in. Jankos is looking backstage, just saying to his ex-team, come on, just win so I get a tiebreaker. By the book, there it is. We'll see what happens. The draft was certainly by the book. And also, is the Varus, we saw 2 AP Varuses already today, so maybe we'll see if they
Maybe. I like Kazi Varus. Just strong in lane, play it. It worked last bit, so why not?
Playing to the strengths. The Mad Lions, they don't want to go through the extra hurdle of playing another tiebreaker. Let's see if they can lock it in.
And it's lights out, and away we go. Summoners with. Hello everyone, I'm still Medic, that's still Dramada. And this is still League of Legends. Unfortunately, no League of Legends 2 yet, where you can Heimerdinger grenade a smoke screen from a Graves to make it dissipate.
Oh, yeah. Could you
That
imagine
would be cool, man.
Oh.
Like, you can interact with other people's skill shots.
Maybe then, finally, smokescreen will be balanced.
It's one of the most broken non-ultimate abilities in the game. I think that and Flowers always talks about Event Horizon, the Vega E. Pretty broken as well, considering what it does.
Yeah.
The area it controls.
Yeah, I dig
That
that.
and Silence. Soraka's E as well. I think
Oh,
Silence as a
yeah.
mechanic is inherently very strong.
Yeah.
For now, though, none of those champions in this game. So let's talk about the game instead, Jamal.
Are you sure? Do you want to talk about the game?
Well, I have a very simple mnemonic. Well, no, not even mnemonic, just a phrase for you guys. If you win as Mad Lions, you're in. You make it into the group stage, you knock out Heretics, and you lock G2 into 4th place. If G2 win, we'll have a tiebreaker between Mad and Heretics later on, and G2 will get 3rd place in the regular season, obviously.
Very interesting, very interesting. So those are the stakes for the game. For Mad.
And for G2.
And for G2, yeah. But for Mad, they do not want to have to face Team Heretics in the tiebreaker. So I think reflecting that back on the game, a lot of very proactive picks. You've got the Ari and the Vi. We saw that last game use 2 massive amounts of efficiency on the side of Team Heretics. We'll see if perhaps Niski and Naoyoya can find that same level of flair. I'm very interested in the topside matchup, just because it's one that could definitely be very volatile, but I don't necessarily believe that the junglers are going to get super involved unless someone gets very chunked out and a dive looks like it's on the cards. As I say that though, Yike is pathing up through the top side. He's got 3 camps.
Yep.
He's looking for Elyoya.
He's walking through the jungle with his Nikes on. He's in the zone. Playing games like Prednisone will confuse me forever in those lyrics. Prednisone, precursor to prednisolone, which is metabolized in the liver, is a glucocortico, so a glucocorticoid, so a type of steroid. And it's used for asthma attacks.
Right.
So why on earth would you be playing like it's prednisone? That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Oh.
Medically, just absolutely absurd. Caps looking for a gank in, Yike looking for the gank as Caps looking for something in the mid lane. Yike though, charmed up. There's the ball breaker from Elyoya. And perhaps Yike will need some prednisone after this. Flashes away, but instead he has burst blood. Nisqy trying to dodge to the side. Red buff on Elyoya will slow down Caps. Does still have the flash if he wants to get away from this one. Bolt breaker still used. Caps, you still got the flash, my dude. Elyoya, no flash to follow up from Caps. It's fine. Never in doubt.
A little bit of playing with fire, not too bad. Really cheeky there from Nisqy on the Q bring back. Tried to flash at the very last second to get a bit of a reposition. And it does secure their kill onto Yike, who frankly just kind of overstepped. I guess just wasn't expecting Elyoya to be there, but he had a pretty good idea of where he could be, and it would be around that part of the map after the Wolf Camp. As Yike shows his face, Caps just says, you know what, maybe this is the setup we need. But yeah, Yike just oversteps his bounds. Chain CC'd, nice last second flash just to get the Q pullback, and it's about enough damage to ensure that Yike drops. Elyoya gets the flash in, and I mean, hell, even if he doesn't, Hylissang was there. Hylissang was ready.
Roaming up when his waves pushed under tower, typical Hylissang.
Good old Hylissang. Who needs XP in the support role? Am I right? Any truers? But yeah, Caps going in for another aggressive trade. Doesn't have flash now. That charm goes wide, so the trade back won't be as hefty as perhaps it could have been.
And Caps have got the Ruby Crystal Dark Seal off that back, so is in an okay position in that mid lane. Obviously, you expect to take some bad trades, or you expect to take some damage in this lane in the early game. You know, you're melee into a range. The Orb of Deception does a lot of damage as well if you get hit by the end of it. So Caps just trying to survive the early laning phase. Mickey and Hans Summer, all summoners available to them. Elyoya clears out the ward, and the heal was used just to make sure that Hans Summer had enough movement speed to escape any possible grenades. Yike, perhaps looking for something in the mid lane. No flash, remember, on Caps or on Yike. Nisqy doesn't have that summoner either, but it's just a ward for the moment. Chasey trading onto Broken Blade, knocks him back.
Yeah. I will quickly ad-lib and say that can't happen at level 6, otherwise Broken Blade will kill him.
Yeah.
Needs to make sure he doesn't get caught out like that, but speaking of getting caught out, Caps, no flash from the earlier play, and Elyoya wants to try and abuse that. Will Nisqy hit the charm?
Nope.
Great sidestep. Bit of a miss, but also a good sidestep.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, a sidestep is just a poorly placed skill shot, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Right? Either you can predict where your opponent's going to be, or they manage to make a fool out of you, and there Nisqy was the fool, but Caps still feeling a bit of the pressure from constant attention from Elyoya. Chasey, slowed with the undertow, flashes the Spectral Morph, and that makes that 6 even more tricky for Chasey to navigate.
That's really scary now. Anytime Chasey eats pretty much one undertow, Broken Blade could just press all of his buttons and just kill him. Depends on where the wave is. We'll see whether or not BB will look to try and abuse that, but speaking of being abused, bottom side 2v2, Hans and Mickey already got the one plate. This is, I guess, typically a lane you would maybe expect Varus and this Heim to get a lot of priority, but Hilly spending a lot of time outside of lane, looking for a roam now onto Caps.
Caps no flash still. Can steal away the Spirit Rush though. He's got the hijack, so he can wait.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to steal the ultimate, but did have the ability to get away. Chasey going back in, the Ragnarok. Ghost used as well. Flash away. Flash in fact, from Broken Blade, and takes a couple of tower shots, but doesn't get taken out. Hans Summer flashes. Elyoya looking for Mickey. Mickey still has the flash here as well. Elyoya not yet level 6. Still a full level away from it, but still, Elyoya will be able to take a kill down towards the bottom side. Cap stole away. The Spirit Rush. Don't think he's used that yet. Nisqy did use one in the mid lane, and Broken Blade will take his time with the tower in the top side to get himself a plate.
Gives us the OKMO as well. Feels pretty good about that trade, Hans. He should be fine. But yeah, I mean, BB hits one undertow, flashes in, knows Yike's not going to go for this plate. So really nice solo kill up in the top side. We'll see if that lead can be pushed even further.
Is anyone confused by what Broken Blade did with his flash. He did flash forward. It's just
Yeah,
sometimes the spectator bug
Yeah.
is a little bit weird, so it looks like he was still on the same spot, but then he zooms towards where he's meant to be.
Yep.
Caught me out, as it often does. Spear rush in by Caps, dodge away from the abscond dive ducked by Niski. Caps goes back in once again. Still only level 5 for Elioy, means it's a bit hard to chase down Caps, and
Hilly's here
Hilly
again.
is here just to help push in this wave.
Yeah, just wants
Mickey's
to-
here too, though.
Oh, it's a 3v3 in the mid lane, as mid lane in Europe so often is. Historically, I've been told.
Oh, it's a
make it
4v3
Okay.
Chasey on vision, though.
Hey, the Gazi's here as well. Get them all here, sure.
Look, guys, we know shutting down Caps on a tried and true method of beating G2, but perhaps a little bit too much invested there. Although Waves
Don't really lose anything.
Yeah, they don't lose anything. Waves weren't pushed under towers. They're not losing XP. Mickey looking for something here. Hylissang does still have the flash. Mickey with the Hail of Blades, trading forward. Something that Ashe does so well, and one of the reasons we saw her originally picked as an answer to the Heimerdinger is deal with turrets, right? The ability just to chip away at them from range makes it a lot harder for the Heimerdinger to actually gain true pressure in a lane. It's probably why, partly to shut down Caps, but also partly because the lane isn't as easy for the Heimerdinger, that we see Hylissang roaming around the map as much as he is.
Absolutely. One thing I'm really interested to see is how Mad will deal with Hans and the spell shield. I think last game you saw the power of I when she's dealing with an AD carry that doesn't have a spell shield. This time around, Hans on the Sivir definitely disrupt that, because I feel like Mad would like to break up this tempo on the bottom side, stop their bottom lane from getting shoved in and poked out so consistently, but I think with constant defensive posturing from Yike around the bottom side, but also just the spell shield and the cleanse, it does get so difficult to truly get on top of the target and then immediately blow them up. As, speaking of all that defensive posturing, all the pressure, all the priority is going to result in this first Cloud Dragon going down for G2.
Now, can I introduce you to a 5v5 MOBA played from a third-person point of view called Smite that can help get rid of a spell shield as the Vi is on her way towards... I shouldn't really be shilling for the composition.
No, you probably shouldn't, but it's okay. You know.
I think it's okay. It worked for the joke.
But, well, you'll find out.
Ring, ring, Mark Merrill on the phone.
Exactly.
Stop. As if he knows my name. Gonna try and get in towards this blue buff now. Escaping Caps does have that cease and desist. Does have the flash as well. Spectral Maw just shot. Mad Lions evacuate the fight. Hylissang no caught up. Cease and desist for the chase. Hylissang tries to flash away. Elioy traded back in. But they're outnumbered. They're outgunned. They're outmanned right now. Elioy diving up to Mickey. Mickey flashes away and already it's 2 kills over to G2. Kazi trying to get him from the bottom side, but Caps is on the chase for Niski. The arrow just... It's the tail! A little bit of a haircut needed for the RE. Those tails a bit too wide, it seems. And Mickey, ADC on ADC action. Mickey will take it. Cosplaying has won this game. It seems G2 take 4 for naught.
9 tails, maybe 1 less. Niski squeaks out of that. But it is the arrow that connects. Well aimed from Mickey. And G2 unwilling to give up. That slight misposition there from Elioy. Get the chase down in. The Vi ultimate stolen away from Caps. And the numbers advantage is G2 that are just there first to the plate. If Mad were there, maybe at equal numbers, they could have won out in this skirmish. You could see the damage return and what Mad were capable of, but not quite enough.
And as Caps engage here, you can see his Aragorn at the Black Gates for Yankos! He says he goes in. It's just locking up Hylissang, bursting him before the fight can really begin.
Yeah, absolutely. Hilly can't really add anything to this fight, and because Hilly dies so fast, Elioy goes in a little bit split off from Niski. Niski can't add any of, well, all of his damage to that one target. Just means that there's no real chance for a reset. Fight split up, and Chasey.
Yeah, Chasey, you lose these. Broken Blade 2-0 now on the Olaf.
It's so rough.
Hasn't played it at all in spring, but did go 5-1 on the champ in the winter split and continues to show that dominance. Caps going in once again. Mad Lions at 6s and 7s, it seems, just can't really find anything they're looking for. Elioy dives in, but the Hail of Blades on Mickey continues to chip away at the back of the Vi. And it's such a difficult situation to be in. 4,000 gold down, and your mind can't only be on this game anymore. You're thinking, well, in 2 games' time, we have a tiebreaker up against Heretics if we lose this. Flash forward by Niski. They get Caps once again. Cease and desist, not enough, and Caps is on the chase. Niski dashes away with the Spirit Rush. 9 lives. Down to 6 now. An arrow from Mickey as well. Mad Lions collapsing. They're looking for something. Mickey sacrificed. Caps trying to escape through the tower range, dodges the top tower, dodges that extra shot, and is able to walk his way back up towards the top side of the map.
6 lives left. We'll see if he uses them better than Puss in Boots did. It's a great movie, by the way.
Oh, death in that movie is so scary, man.
He is
I haven't had nightmares from a kids movie in a long time.
You had a nightmare about that?
No, come on, man, don't call me out like this. It's Puss in Boots, man. I can't be saying on live television I've had a nightmare about Puss in Boots. But yeah, I had a nightmare. Okay, scary movie.
Unsurprisingly, but yeah, really well played here by G2, just constantly pushing the throw. I mean, hell, technically that was Nisqy looking for that play, and it just got turned around on by Caps and pure individual prowess. Chasey. Oh no.
Chasey does have the flash, but the Ragnarok's going to chase him down. A flash over the wall. Broken Blade going in. Yike. Adds one flash to boot, and Broken Blade now on a killing spree. Tanks 2 tower shots, because why the hell not? And you have to feel, in this sort of situation, Mad are done and dusted. Buried in the ground of Summoner's Rift. 5,000 gold behind, and it's only 13 minutes in. A Rift Herald as well for G2. They secure this one quickly enough. That's more plates for them. Going to be probably 5 plates in the top lane. They've already taken 2 in the bot. None yet in mid, but Caps, instead of plates, he's killing players as he continues to dominate the map. 5-0 now on this side. This Rod of Ages complete. At the rate this game's going, I don't know if it'll get fully stacked before we see the Nexus fall. The arrow coming down. There's the Rift out as well. Nisqy with a good sidestep. The Foxfire being used just to help him get away. Broken Blade coming in as well. There's the Rift out. Charge used immediately. 2 plates down in the mid as well. Nisqy trying to clear the wave. He's got 30 seconds before these plates fall off. The smallest of mercies would be holding Caps away from getting a 3rd tower place in mid.
Smallest mercy indeed. G2 ruthless so far. Mad Lions, I mean, they have to find something, but again, it feels like it's so difficult everywhere across the map. You can't look at top. Mid lane almost feels out of the question. Caps just steals away one of your ultimates, and you kind of just can't lock him down. Bottom side feels like maybe, but it's been left on such an island now for a while. As Hans wants this 1v1. Will be a 2v1 in a second.
Just the arrow down. The Chain of Corruption being used as well. Did get the slow on Hans Summer. Another arrow coming out from Mickey. Anything you can do, I can do better. Mickey with the Legolas cosplay. In fact, Yike trying to get him from behind here. Broken Blade coming in as well. Ghost up in 1 second. Ragnarok as well, a possibility. Do you just go for the dive, the flash away from the charm?
Yes.
Nisqy has 1 Spirit Rush left, and you say yes. And G2's bodies are telling them that as well. The minion wave pushing in. Broken Blade clears out the next one. The Boomerang Blade from Hans Summer. The Ragnarok in. The Heartbreaker and Mad Lions. Not only their hearts are broken, but their backs as well. Lane to waste by G2 in the bottom lane. 14 kills to 3 at 15 minutes in. G2 are on a tear.
More than that, it's a complete rampage. G2, everywhere they look, they find kills. Chasey now in trouble as well. I think this is just a solo kill for Caps maybe. No, phase rush, knock away.
Oh, that had hit though. Can't quite get there.
He still wants it. He's not stopped. He's still going.
I mean, there's no tower, so we might as well. Chase it down, Caps dominating. Another arrow just flies across the screen.
Why not?
Watch out if you go get a snack after this game. That one might hit you, but let's see what Mickey was aiming for. He's now got the Imperial Mandate complete. First items for everyone on the side of G2. Let's see. Just a brief moment of...
Oh, yeah.
So no one on Mad has more gold than Mickey has.
Everyone on Mad has less gold than everyone on G2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mildly problematic, if I do say so myself.
Hylissang and Nisqy combined have less gold than Broken Blade. That's some quick maths for you right there.
Yeah. So, chances on BB showing up to the next fight and running everyone over pretty high.
Yeah, Radiant Virtue as well on the Olaf. We don't really need more damage at this stage. You've got 40 stacks on your Ravenous Hydra. Another arrow going in, but the... Guys, you can't cheer for every arrow. Come on. Just look at the mini-map. You can see them with the minion wave pushed up. If anyone from Mad got hit by the arrow, it would have been truly disastrous.
They've just got the protractors out. Oh, hello.
The smite. All right, there you go. He's been playing other MOBAs. Elio helps Mad Lions get something on the board. But it's a small victory. Broken Blade going forward. Ragnarok, he goes back in. This is 1v5 from Broken Blade, and he's winning it! Broken Blade takes one, he pays for it with his life, though. The shutdown going over to Nisqy, and that is a gold infusion for Mad Lions. Nisqy gets a shutdown. Kazi, I believe, got one too from Hans Summer. It's a little bit of hope, perhaps.
Don't mind me huffing on the copium machine, as that's an arrow which is going to result in Chasey's death.
Yeah, that one you can cheer for, guys. Chasey chased down towards the bottom side. Mickey gets another. Caps in the mid lane, just kills off Kazi. Yike looking for a little bit more action. The Vault Breaker away from El Yoyo will get him to safety. The arrow already a third of the way off his cooldown. 4th tower of the game as well, going over to G2. And as you said, it's a rampage, it's a rout. It's a rollicking here as G2 are 10,000 gold ahead at the 17-minute mark, Jamada.
G2 really want Mad to play this tiebreaker, huh?
Yeah, they do.
I mean, to be fair, for G2 winning this game, was it confirmed 3rd? So, oh, hello, goodbye. Legendary for Caps, not bad. 801.
And Hilly isn't even having a Hilly game, man.
No.
Like, he's played really well, and it's just, this is one of those games where you look at the stats and it's like, oh, it's just a Hilly game, but it's not. It's just a G2 game, it seems. Niski's going to Spirit Rush away. TP coming in as they look to try and collapse onto Caps. It will be 1,000 gold if they can get it. Spirit Rush stolen now by Caps. Wants a piece of the action. Season Desist being used as well. Caps so tanky as he got the Kingslayer back up. It's almost off cooldown, not quite. Shutdown goes over to Chasey. More gold in the pockets of Mad Lions, but meanwhile, Broken Blade looking for towers. Instead of a fight, he's going in towards that top lane. We'll be able to get the tier 2. And it's the briefest, the smallest, the pinprick of light at the end of the tunnel, perhaps, for Mad Lions. But they've got so much more work to do if they're going to dig through that tunnel and find a victory from this game.
Jankos as well there in the picture-in-picture. His fellow organization and friends on the G2 side.
Disappoint me. Disappoint me, Dan.
Doing him and his team a solid right now. Do they disappoint you though, really?
I mean, the thing with an arrow cheer is,
okay,
right? Or it's like the Rift Herald cheer. I like it in moderation. Many things I like in moderation. You know, if it's just a random arrow that gets fired out of the mid lane, I will admit the observers are baiting you really hard by showing all of them. But you look at the wave state and it's like, if the blue side minions are pushed up, someone gets hit by that arrow, that's a big mistake from the person getting hit by that arrow. Because you have so much time to look away. You have so much time to walk away. But I can't be mad at this crowd for long.
No.
They've been absolute darlings this weekend, as they continue to be. And it looks like we're going to get one more game at the end of the day to have a little bit more fun. Rift Herald now going to be secured by G2. We did see yesterday the fastest game of spring. I'm trying to remember who it was. But perhaps today we'll see it broken. Who knows? It's always a possibility. I'm sure Adair will ping me in my ear and be like, oh, it was this team. Or even put it in a little auto cue in front of us that tells me every word I must say.
Oh, yeah.
If I ever mess up, by the way, it's the script writers, okay? They have written what I should say in the moment.
Throw them under the bus, why don't you? I mean, sure. I'm not going to say no.
No?
I'm just gonna let what you said sit.
That's because that's what it says in the script.
You're so smart, Medic.
Yeah.
You can read really well.
So, Jamada,
Yeah.
we're 20 minutes in, and I think we have established our belief
That G2 should win this game?
that G2 are going to win this game. And if they don't win this game, it's something massive for Mad Lions.
Yeah.
Now, I want you, and I apologize for this, I want you to put your Mad Lions hat on.
Okay.
It could be one of those like cool hats that makes you look like a lion, you know, with the teeth or whatever, right? And tell me what you would do to get back into this game.
Well, firstly, I'm an analyst, not a magician. So, to be entirely honest with you, I'm not even really sure. I think G2 really have to overstep their bounds here. Because right now, across the board, there is not a single place where there isn't a massive deficit. I guess, silver lining, Kaz is at 2 items. If they can maybe set him up for a good fight. But that's like extreme copium. Because realistically, Broken Blade should just run him down and murder him. So, where do you really go from there? You've got a couple of pick options between both the Vi and the Ahri.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's really rough, guys. I
appreciate you for trying.
Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate you for making me try.
Putting you in the position to try. I will say, something I hadn't thought about, you know the new Death Dance build with double pickaxe,
yes,
right? Where you go double pickaxe, chain vest, that's what Broken Blade's building. It is kind of like Broken Blade's playing Deep Rock Galactic, and he's just got both of his mines out, both of his pickaxes out to mine. It's like rock and stone, they're looking for the pick. Caps, chain of groceries on the way, they find the pick, it's Kazi who gets it, Jamada, you absolute genius. Can Mad Lions escape though? Yike is on the chase, Heartbreaker forward, flashes away from it, the charge is wide, but he is the and there go the entirety of Mad Lions, that's 2. He's looking for more, he's looking for 3, he chases Chasey underneath the tower, it's 3! Can he make it 4? It's 4! Rock
forward. Broken Blade is a monster, and we knew it was going to happen, didn't we? We said it. He's just going to run down Kazi, he's going to run down the rest of the Mad, and they're not going to be able to do anything about it. He's too damn fed. And G2 just take everything with it. They'll get the Baron. They've got a Herald in the mid lane. I think Mad Lions, I'm going to have a hot, saucy date with Team Heretics at the end of the night.
And we saw Kazi laughing in the playground as that happened as well. You can do nothing but laugh in that sort of situation. So absurd. But Broken Blade just able to run you down. 10-2 now on the Olaf. Caps as well, 9-2. Him getting caught was the start of it all. The arrow, no one is chasing it! Good job, Minky. Woo. You get your Returnal a bit faster. Woo!
Your Returnal of all things. That's so funny. Oh my god!
How much AP does the man have?
So, do you remember when I said I'm not a magician, I'm an analyst?
Yeah, Caps is the magician.
Caps is the magician. Caps is the magician. We'll now look at the replay that we was about to. And Caps, yeah, to be fair, disappears and all. So I guess he's got all fronts covered. As, yeah, chase down here is just absurd. I mean, you've got Radiant Virtue healing ticking. And I don't know if he had Death Stance yet. No, he had components.
Yeah, components.
So this was pre-Death Stance, where he would have gotten more healing back. As we come out picture,
Hans away. Season 6 going in as well. Hans Summer will fall, but Elyoya will be sacrificed for it. He goes down as well. Mickey getting another kill. Baron buff on G2. They secured that as we were jumping into the replay. And now pushing through. Mid lane, wait. Did they use the Rift Tower that they picked up?
Earlier.
Okay,
when they went for the Baron.
Oh, yeah. Because I was like, oh, Rift Tower push with Baron, but not quite. Still 24 minutes on the clock and a 13,000 gold advantage. 3 dragons to 0, and this. Oh, we just had to see the end of it, did we?
I love our obs. Obs are great.
Absolutely smurfing this weekend.
BB was very pleased with
Yeah, of course he was. The guy's not had the best of spring splits. You know, some games really good. Team fighting very solid, but laning phase, I think a lot of people looked at me like he kind of falls behind from time to time.
To summarize that one Football Manager, sometimes maybe good. Sometimes maybe the word I won't say, otherwise I might not come back.
Yeah.
So, not
You're just here so you don't get fined.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway. Do you want a joke?
I feel like I have a... Serenade me with a joke, Medic.
It's hard to explain puns to kleptomaniacs, because they always take things literally. Sang hit with the hook, with the arrow, and the Spectral Maw to follow up, and Hillisang going to meet his makeup. Make yourself a machine that gets yourself out of that one, Heimerdinger. I don't think anything would allow you to pull a Houdini and escape. Caps is going to try and 2v1 in the top lane. I don't know if he knows that Elyoya's here. He knows that Chasey's here for sure.
I'll be honest, I don't think he cares. Now he knows because of the Axe vision.
There's TP as well. So they're TPing away from bot lane to try to kill Caps. And I think for the mental warfare, that is worth it. Because you know you're losing this game. You know you're going to a tiebreaker. But at least you can say you killed Caps 3 times. The arrow. Oh, it's the rule. It's the pre-arrow, man. It's 2016. Look at the arrow. Look at the arrow. It stops the base.
And now G2 are going to end the game. not quite. They will get this next inhibitor.
Not quite. The chase down. Goes forward. Hillisang falls once again. Ragnarok used the Broken Blade. Will cry out as he does retreat. 11 kills now on the Olaf. I'll give you that one, Crow. That was a good one.
That was a great one.
An enjoyable experience for one and all, but perhaps not for Mad Lions.
Mate.
They are on the receiving end of a battering.
I've just realized a very terrible fate for Mad Lions.
Yeah.
This is maybe the one game where I think Chemtech Soul is actually going to be really obnoxious because they couldn't even kill the Olaf before.
True. Of course, Chemtech Soul, extra resistances, extra damage reduction. Damage reduction under 50% HP. So it's 11% on this patch, I think. It was 10%, then they buffed it by 1%. I think for 13-4, it might be 13-6, so apologies if that's the wrong patch. But it's like 10 to 11%, somewhere in that range. Not that it really matters, because I'm going to be honest, if you ever get Broken Blade within 1% of his life, he's probably just run onto your fountain at this point. He's got the GA as well, so he'll come back from death and do it all a second time.
He's alright though.
Yeah, G2 can do it by the numbers. They're going up towards the top lane, all 5 players. And they're going to try and close this one out.
They'll do it slowly though. They've been quite slow-paced. For the most, well, I say they've got a kill a minute, so it's hard to call it a slow-paced game, but in terms of the gold lead they have, definitely crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's.
That's missing. That, observers, that is the hardest bait I have seen in my life.
Actually,
Like, Chasey still dies, but the arrow had nothing to do with it. Ragnarok Olaf runs in, gets the GA, comes back from the dead. Niski trying to dash forward. The tower already down to half HP. If G2 get 2 more kills, they have the most kills of any team in any game across Spring Split. Up until now, it was held by Fnatic against Team Heretics. They got 31. Can G2 make it 32?
Yeah.
And once again surpass their rivals who beat them yesterday. It's the narrative. We've got to get Fnatic G2 in here somewhere, Jamada. It's the LEC. It's mandatory. Niski, they're trying to do what he can. There's Caps. Makes it 31. They're looking for one more. Elioyo and Hillasang on the fountain. They get Hillasang. It's 32. G2. Record breakers once again as they put Mad Lions in a match with Heretics at the end of the day.
G2 secure 3rd place in the regular part of the season here in spring. And now Mad Lions will have to play another game later on tonight. I mean, Team Heretics got to be best friends with Mad Lions with G2 now. After that one, rough game. Definitely a very rough game from the man perspective, but I feel like realistically we just have to give credit for G2 to come in like this and just kind of smash it.
Yeah, I mean, it was demolition.
Yeah.
And I think the thing for Mad is you've got a game. You can reset.
Yep.
G2 a different caliber of opposition to Heretics.
Absolutely.
Anything that happened in this game could just be brushed off. Just forget about it, ignore it. Even coming into the game, saying Mad Lions are going to beat G2 was perhaps overestimating their capabilities. Come on, Nikki. Good job.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, so many high fives.
Oh, so
good
many.
job, Caps. Good job. Good job,
Good
Yai.
stuff.
Good job, BB. Good job. Bob LaPonge, Hans.
Bob LaPonge himself.
Bob LaPonge. The Golden Hornets are here. I know very minimal French. I did speak French in high school for a little bit. I was pretty fluent, and then it's been, 11 years since then.
Yeah.
The one song I remember is by Yell.
Okay.
And for any French people, they probably know that Yell songs are not fit for broadcast. It starts with Je veux te voir, and I'm not going to say any more of the words.
Okay.
But few people out there will understand what I'm talking about. Malphite Band by Koi. They are a great set of fans. I will
It's
put that out.
excellent. I come from a football background, so
Yeah.
I love this. This is
I like that, often we just have the chants that are, let's go, vitality, let's go. And that's okay in moderation. But this is the sort of chanting
I can never get bored of.
that really, resonates with your soul.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little on the loud side, but we'll forgive them for that. Youthful enthusiasm.
You can't be mad at passion. Can't really be mad at passion.
Unless it's the fruit. Sometimes they're too bitter, my dude,
I don't eat passion fruit, so
Okay,
I wouldn't know that. But,
Should we get back to the draft?
I mean, we can let the crowd.
Yeah.
I think the Golden Hornets would.
It's fine, keep going. I mean, it's just bands, guys. It's just bands. The Gragas taken out, the Varus as well. Annie, Rakan, alongside that Malphite, and there's the Caitlyn.
All right.
Remove, finally.
So, Xayah first pick is what's on my mind immediately when it's up. Often you see it, and it will go that way. We'll see whether or not Vitality are willing to pick up the Vi when they're facing off against Xayah. Oftentimes you'll see that kind of just go to the wayside. Something like Sejuani would come out.
Yeah.
Wukong as well, something Bo played this weekend and looked pretty damn good on it, if I do say so myself. So we could see that come out as an option, followed up potentially by something like the Zeri, because it's up, it's available, and it's very, very strong. And I actually kind of favor this a little bit for Koi, because we heard on the desk, they're saying how a lot of the time, competitive have been finding themselves in situations where they're just kind of dying 2v2. Maybe with a Xayah versus Zeri lane, you have a little more wiggle room. In the 2v2, you shouldn't often find yourself AD carry matchup, dying in the 2v2, but of course we'll need to see the supports.
I totally agree with you there, Jamada. Zeri, one of those champions that really comes online later in the game. Laning phase is workable, but not exceptional. I think we'll both agree. It looks like Vitality might just be looking towards the top lane, though. Photon gets his Jace early doors here. Could, of course, go mid. I've seen a few mid Jaces, but Photon the only player on Vitality to play it this spring.
Certainly expect Perks could always have that flex down into the mid lane if needs be for the draft. I wonder if Bo's going to go towards an AP champion and kind of keep that flex alive as well. It doesn't have to, but we'll see. Here's the expected Vi. Like we said, when you pick up the Xayah in the first pick and Vi is up and available, oftentimes the red side team won't pick that one up. Hover for a while, moved over to Norlis. I expect that will still be picked up here. So a lot of engage potential to come in for Koi, I suspect. And I mean, for me, I'm a very big fan of Agency, if you haven't guessed already about how I spoke about Team Heretics as well. I mean, generally, they needed that, but I think for Koi, if they do go towards that fight, hovering a bunch of fun stuff, Larson, his own champion pool, I'm sure he plays in solo queue and fun things like that. That should be the case. Now it's about what Team Vitality really want to do. Oh, actually.
Zhao instead, okay. I mean, Malrang very experienced on the Zen. Haven't seen him bring it out so far this split, but something we have seen from him in the past. Vitality now have to think about whether or not they want to go jungle or support here. As you said, an AP jungler would give them some flexibility, but locking in support to make sure that Zeri is safe down towards the bottom side also gives you a little bit more at this point of the draft, even if you're sacrificing perhaps a slight bit in terms of the next phase, because Koi could look to ban out some of those APs.
Yeah, I wonder what Koi are cooking with the Xin pick ahead of the Vi. Perhaps they were scared because they blinded Nautilus that going Vi plus Nautilus would be a little bit too much dive into what should be a very expected Braum response. So we'll measure exactly how much work Mauer can get done on the Xin Zhao. It's very much in his wheelhouse. We know that. Xin loves the early appearances in lanes. Now for Team Vitality, moving away the Azir, I expect enough control mage against Larson, maybe someone like Victor. Something very, very simple. Wouldn't be too surprised. There's quite, just going at the jungle pool of Bo, remove away the Elise, and I expect one more to follow suit. It really just depends on what they don't want Vitality on. I mean, Vi isn't necessarily good into what Koi is showing, but they do need a little bit of turnaround potential. And there's one of the few options still up and available. I guess there's Sejuani. I guess Koi would more likely remove that one away out too.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think if Vitality would decide to go towards something AP focused. I mean, Elise is the main AP jungler we have at the moment, but Lilia has cropped up a few times. Can still be played. LeBlanc found a way in the mid lane. With Vitality removing 2 mid laners of their own, we will fall a little bit further down that cascade of champions.
I feel like this is a bit of a no-brainer Sejuani though. I think you've got Braum, you've got Jason a solo lane. You're always going to have the solo lanes play around. Double stun passive between the concussive blows and permafrost, so really, really simple team comp right now for Team Vitality. So for Koi, what do you respond with?
I mean, the other thing is you don't really want to give too many good ultimates over to Vitality, because Silas last pick alongside the Sejuani, the Jace as well, gives you a full melee top side. Doesn't give you the best weight. Well, I guess the Jace gives you enough wave clear alongside the Zeri. You don't have to worry too much about it. Cassante locked in for Koi. Now they're looking towards that mid lane. Will Larson go back to the Corki that we saw yesterday? Lissandra as well, a possibility, but that was not what you want here. Instead, Orianna. So the ball delivery system of the Nautilus and of the Xin is online.
I like this though for Koi. It's pretty standard, I would expect, front to back. They're just playing around comp, waiting for Zaya to come online. And now for Team Vitality, Aesol. All right.
Perks is Aesol, very clean the last couple of times we've seen it.
I like this too, because a majority of the Koi composition is quite short to medium ranged. So right inside of Aesol's operational ranges, that champion. I played it once. I think you were actually there with me.
I was.
That champion is absurd, and as I'm sure the LEC viewer base already know, having seen Perks play it, it's pretty nutty when it gets online, so we'll see how much Koi can potentially punish it, because it does have a weak early laning phase, but Orianna, not necessarily the best setup until the shockwave is there, so it's going to be about how they can maybe catch out Perks if he oversteps once or twice, whether or not Larson can find him with shockwave once level 6 comes in.
You can see the Koi contingent here as well. The Golden Hornets making themselves very well known, as Hornets are like to do. Very scary really creatures if you have them buzzing around you. But they can't swim. They cannot swim, and therefore Koi may be in the advantage.
That's so smart.
Aquatic escapades.
All they have to do is sit in the pond. They'll never get stung.
How are you going to get here? Just scale. Just scale, if you could. Big game for both these teams. Might not seem like much, but getting 4th place means you avoid G2 in the group stage.
Avoiding G2 in any best of is a win. There's no other way to put it.
Gives you an easier route towards the best of 5s. Of course, Vitality have been struggling over the last few days, so have Koi. Let's see who wins today! And Vitality have Let's Go'd. towards the top lane.
Ale.
Oh, did he see the jungle?
No, he
path?
didn't. No, he didn't.
Ping is coming out. Vitality on the chase. Shigenda backs away. Photo maybe showed a little earlier than the rest of Vitality there, but in the end, Shigenda was pathing down anyway, so he's able to escape. Koi not even using this time to make a foray into the enemy jungle, just maintaining their safe lines. Trimby stepping forward to see if there was anyone poking their head out of the jungle, but no one shows their face as of yet. Oh wait, let me do this.
Oh.
Runes.
Oh, runes.
Now you can look at them all.
Yeah.
Just even if we don't talk about them, often people want to know. You know, if I'm playing Nautilus, they'll be like, "Oh, well, is he running Font of Life?" And it's like, "Oh, yes, he is. Excellent.
Yeah. That's cool.
Great, you know."
Though, if you're Gorborg at the moment, you're not running Font. You're running Shield Bash.
And I really want to talk about that, but no one has done it yet, so we can't talk about it. And I think it might be more of a solo queue build because you run Aftershock and you Emax, and you run Shield Bash. And you do a lot of damage. You got Evan Shroud as well.
Don't forget cheap shot.
I've had a lot of games where I've done more damage than my jungler or my top laner. I still lose said games, but DPS-wise, I'm right up there.
That's what matters, right? I mean, there's a reason why some players stay on stage so long after the game's finished, just because they're checking their damage to make sure that they are up to scratch.
You don't see supports doing that. Unless they're playing like Soraka, and it's like, how much healing did I do? Did I negate an entire enemy champion?
I like doing that. When you're on those like utility champs and you've got like a Moonstone, just like, how much did I heal my team?
Always feels good. Let's talk a little bit about how these lanes are likely to play out. You can see already Orianna with a push in the mid lane. Perks. You can actually, just quickly, because we have added this in, and I want to give a lot of credit to our stats team. If you look just under Perks' name, just above where his level is, you see that 5, that's how many stacks he has. On Aurelion Sol, your stacks enhance all of your abilities. Usually, the aim is around 10 stacks a minute, like 200 stacks by 20 minutes is a pretty good benchmark to be at. Let's see, Waves in a pretty neutral state apart from mid, which is pushing a little bit in towards Perks.
I do suspect a lot of these lanes may remain passive for a while. I hold my breath though, because Malrang's in the game. And
don't hold it too long.
Okay.
I don't want you fainting. Okay. He is actually holding his breath. Malrang is in the game. He's looking for something, Jamada. He's working his way up towards this top side. He hasn't cleared out his Razorbeaks or his Krugs. With a ward going down, knows perhaps the bow is around here. Ward countered here by Bo. Could look for the gank as he gets onto Malrang. Shigenda and Photon trading up towards the top side. Malrang low, gets the knock up onto Bo, but there is the permafrost, and Malrang might have to flash to get out of this one. He turns it around. Malrang with the auto! But the Winter's Wrath from Bo is enough to secure first blood.
Really well played by Bo. Level advantage as well. Just flashes backwards. The thin part of the flail does all of the extra damage. Really well played. Malrang almost turned it around. Lethal tempo stacked up. Zins out. Very, very powerful in the early skirmishes. And now actually considering a dive on Shigenda. Has Ghost, of course, but I feel like a little bit risky when you've got to deal with that W. So much reduced damage at this stage in the game.
Yeah, Shigenda would also know it's happening as well because he had that ward in the bush just beneath his lane. Trimby spots this ward, uses the W auto cancel to clear it out immediately. It's a little Nautilus tech. You don't play it, or if you don't know about it, if you auto W auto, you can get 3 autos out quickly enough to kill a ward. And Trimby showing the support techers there. But that first blood does mean Bo's been able to go back and get himself double Ruby Crystal and the boots. That boar is going to be a bit of a nuisance for the next while as Malrang down towards his Krugs. Bo working his way around towards mid here. Larson, low mobility champion is the Orianna. Does have the flash, would have to invest it, but there's no escape. He flashes after the 4th auto, and that's just immediate death.
A little bit greedy there from Larson, but at the end of the day, I feel like he was so out of position, he would probably die. It just
that's why don't flash.
It just looks the worst version of the death, right? And Bo happily walks away with his 2nd kill of the game, gives Perks a little bit of breathing room, and he'll take a reset. And Asol not getting punished in the early stages feels really damn good, and all of that is coming off the back of Bo's plays. Finding Malrang in the 1v1 and now ganking in the mid lane. And he's actually wrapped back around for a retry here. Kaiser's also walking around, but it seems like they're a bit apprehensive. They'll finally show Bo. I'm just going to push Larson back.
And that's the issue now for Larson. It's the reason I was like, just don't flash in that situation is you know you're going to die. If you flash, you have like a 10% chance of escaping as Photon trades with Shigendo in the top lane. Not much mana on Photon, but he does have the range with those autos. Shigendo able to step to the side. But yeah, now that Orianna's a sitting duck. She has the shockwave, sure, she can disengage a little bit, but are you going to be able to disengage Aurelion Soul chasing you down alongside a Sejuani? It feels so much more difficult to do, and you have 4 more minutes, 5 more minutes-ish, before you have that ability to escape back up.
Yep, absolutely. And I think it's really important to note as well how big the cast range is for Aurelion Soul.
Yeah.
He can be almost on the upside of the lane, bring down that CC, and it just sets up Sejuani so well. So Malrang's going to have to definitely do his due diligence, be around that lane. Also, I like this from comp from Trimby. Just moving up towards the top side, trying to provide a bit of safety, but Vitalia here to punish.
Trimby, concussive blows, permafrost already procced, concussive blows will follow up. The CC is deadly. An upset on the receiving end of that kill.
Yep, really, really well punished by Vitalia again. Just moving up, and you understand why Trimby's there and what he's looking for, but unfortunately, Vitalia members, more members to the punch, and now Vitalia, they'll pick up this first dragon. Photon, even just in the mid lane, to give a shock blast over to Larson and just chunk him out. A touch. Mental warfare. 1 over. Now Vitalia will get this neutral objective, and there's not really anything on the map for Koi to play for either. That's the irritating thing here from their perspective. They kind of just have to sit back and scale. No plays on the map.
Hornets have learned how to swim, it seems, as they've been able to pick up this early lead.
That would be terrifying.
Man, this is just out there scuba diving as Hornet just zooming towards you. It'd be a pretty difficult thing to deal with. And this is something we have seen a bit from Koi over the last few weeks, especially ever since their playoffs run, where they had it, like they really seem to level up as a team. Often in the early game, a few people will just get caught. Trimby especially has struggled. I think he started to first blood like almost half of the games for Koi here in spring, and sometimes it's just a little bit of miscommunication about how far someone can push up. You see Malrang in the top side. He thought perhaps he could get the gank, but then Bo was there. He gets caught out. Larson steps too far up as well and is caught out in the mid lane. Then Trimby's trying to cover, and he is collapsed on. And you can give credit to Vitality as well, because they are the ones doing the collapsing. They're the ones finding their marks. But sometimes it feels like Koi just not quite respecting exactly where their opposition can be.
Absolutely, Medic. Right on the money. And Vitality will always be happy to punish that.
Yeah.
They're the kind of team that will do that. Even if they have found a couple of struggles here and there on the Rift. Feels like that's one thing that typically remains consistent about them.
Yeah.
They will never let themselves outright get stepped on.
They'll always go down fighting. I think it's been a Perks sort of motto across his career. I still remember he was playing, it was a G2 Fnatic game all those years ago. I have to bring it up, right? But he had a quote which was, let's make him sweat for it. And they were like 3 inhibitors down, and the whole idea was like, even if we lose, we're gonna fight him tooth and nail.
Yep.
Just exemplifies that mentality. Another stun going down here onto Trimby. No flash, remember, on the Nautilus. The feathers come back, but no root finds its mark.
Oh no.
And Upset gets 2. One more auto would be enough for the concussive, but Upset doesn't think he has the kill threat. Even with that stun. Comp's flash now burnt, does still have the ghost. But the Vitality bot lane well and truly online. 2 kills to the good. And Vitality 4-0 up with almost a 2,000 gold lead right now.
Yeah, Trimby is looking for the dredge line, but I'm not really sure they necessarily win the 2v2 anyway if they hit it. Punished. Simple as that. And now Upset gets an extra kill on the board. Very close to also getting that concussive blow stack. As he's looking for Kaiser, because Kaiser is taking, admittedly, a bit of a greedy path into the lane, but as soon as that misses and it connects to the wall, you're flying. You're going in. No flash from the earlier exchange up towards the mid lane. Now in the picture-in-picture, Shigendo.
Photon, Shigendo goes back in, for the knockback, the all-out underneath the tower, the hook! Oh! What was that? Trimby takes the kill! Shigendo outplays Photon in the top lane, burns his flash as well, doesn't burn a summoner to do it. And Shigendo will be able to push in this way. Photon will lose at least 6 minions, well, only 6 minions to the tower.
Extra lockdown, that's what Trimby was there for, just in case Photon could walk it out of that. Not really well played by Shigendo as now. Bo,
Shigendo wanted 2 plates because he's got the demolish. He's going to pop the ghost to try and get away, but the permafrost once again gets the CC. Bo uses the glacial prison and buries Shigendo in an IC2 in that top lane. Bo now 3-0, already on his way to the Radiant Virtue, probably sitting on the most gold in the game. We can check that because we have this handy little button I can press.
No.
Second most to Upset.
Yep.
Upset, you know, has been able to get 2 plates in the bottom lane, so kind of makes sense.
That's true. Bo's having a great game, though. Bo is having a very, very good game. And Upset is also set up.
Good one.
For, I was proud of myself, that one. To have a pretty good game here as well, 2-0 right now. And I feel like for Koi, being able to lock him down consistently, they've only really got Trimby's ultimate, and once that does connect, they're going to have to follow up, and they're going to have to blow him up with Shockwave, with Xayah Feathers, with something. Otherwise, he's going to take over the game. And even then, you still have to worry about the Starfire Breathing Dragon in the mid lane.
That is his official title.
Oh, is that what it is?
The Starfire Breathing Dragon.
Well, it is now.
It is now. It's a bit of a difficulty. Perks at almost 100 stacks, just gets over to 105. It will become a lot easier for him to stack up as the game goes on. That singularity, the E, whenever a minion's executed in it, you get a stack, and when you execute champions, you get more. Which is always a little bonus for him. Larson, flash back up. But Kaiser just wants to push the wave. Comes in, Relic shields the cannon, and walks back away. And this is all a setup to make sure they can gain control of this bot side jungle, because there's a Mountain Drake up in 15 seconds. They can also threaten a dive down towards the bottom lane. Comp No Flash does have that Featherstorm for a little bit of security, but they see Perks on his way. The Starfire Breathing Dragon coming in. The stars descend, and Vitality decide they don't want to fight any further. They got the TP out, and that's really all they were looking for.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward because Perks can get so far ahead, and the wave is being cleared out so quickly by Comp. Pulled the feathers back on the wave. They had to pull the trigger when they did. But I wonder, with those ultimates blown, I mean, Vitality have so much priority. I feel like they could still play for the Dragon if they want it, but they actually want this tower right now with the Herald. Bo's going to drop that and just give Upset even more gold than he already has.
Yeah, Comp up the ultimate as well, as that Aurelion solo was used. Oh, what's it gonna do, guys? The same thing it does every darn time.
Stop being a grouchy old
Quick
man.
Shot is all like really happy with these cheers for the Rift Herald. I think if it gets the tower, cool.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, bit disappointing, really. This being has only existed to charge towers.
Boo him.
Your boos mean nothing to me. I've heard what makes you cheer. That was harsh.
That was really harsh.
Doing a great job. It's great.
Yeah.
It's been great fun. 2,000 gold the lead for Vitality. They get the Drake as well. They can look for the full 5 plates down towards this bottom side, and I shouldn't underestimate Shirley. She's just doing her job.
Exactly.
Bo trying to trade here with Mao, and Comp putting some damage down as well. Perks is on his way. And you have to feel that Koi need to give up this bot lane turret. They will do just that, and Vitality will continue to extend their gold lead. For anyone, oh yeah, there we go. Oh, hey! The hook connects as well.
Hello.
And a bit of a away moment for Bo. Locked up, Crescent Guard coming out as well, but Vitality on the front foot. The engage was onto Bo, but all the damage onto Koi. Kaiser rooted under the tower, can just retreat. And Vitality find another kill. You can see a bit of desperation there from Koi. They were looking for something, but they couldn't find much. And the reason that they are so desperate is because they want that 4th spot behind G2. Photon and Shigenda trading in the top lane. Photon going back in, the knockback onto Shigenda. He's got the Q3, but he can't escape. Photon, the solo kill in the top lane, and Vitality 7-1 up. Koi taking a quick trip to Brazil, it seems.
Oh.
As they continue to fall further behind. 4,000 gold the lead here, Jamada. And truly a dominant performance so far from the Hornets.
Felt like those 7 goals went in 14 minutes, didn't it?
Yep. I mean, a lot of them did. It was very rapid.
To be fair, yeah. But Photon finds himself that solo kill. Shigenda just a little bit hesitant to press his buttons. I feel like in that moment, when you're that far up and you commit forward with the W, you probably have to just commit for the all-in. Because at that point, as we saw, it played out exactly how it did. Photon's going to run you down. Kind of unfortunate, a bit of a misstep, but that's how things go in League of Legends. And now, with that kill, Vitality felt like they had a bit of a window, but they're going to be pushed out a bit here by Koi. Maybe a reposition on the bottom side. And a fight or Bo over the wall as well.
Yeah, Bo, Glacial Prison is about to come out. Hexgate's over. No, he can't.
Okay, he's fine.
He's all good. Yeah. He's using the blue first. Yeah, there he uses the Q to get away. Koi disengage from the Rift Herald, and Vitality will start it up once again. Perks was pushing mid lane all this while, so Koi might look for something there. Trimby could flash hook. Perks flashes away.
Worth though. Support flash and mid flash.
Yep.
You'll always take that. perhaps Koi can find some respite in a pick onto the mid lane. Yeah, again, but it feels like at this point, Perks level 11, the Andrew's in tow. He's almost always going to have first move with the wave clear, but also he's going to just have first move because he can fly. He's a dragon. And now Malrang.
Malrang got the Gromp.
Yeah.
Most important part, Permafrost from Bo. Just lock up Malrang for a second. Crescent Guard used as the ultimate just to disengage. Perks is on his way across as well, and Koi retreating under their tier 2s. TPUs. By Photon towards the bottom lane to answer the push coming out from Shigendo. For both these teams, of course, a very important game. If they win this, they manage to get 4th place, whoever wins, because Koi would have the head-to-head over Vitality, so they would be put above them, even though the win-loss is the same, and Vitality would get to 6 and 3, but they can't match G2 and Astralis on win-loss either. So BDS lock first, Astralis second, G2 lock third. Winner of this gets 4th. If Vitality win, SK would actually get 5th, Fnatic would get 6th, and Koi would go all the way down to 7th place. If Koi win, Vitality would only be pushed down to 5th place, SK would be 6th, and Fnatic would be 7th. Man. So, big game for Koi, because if you fall to the bottom, either BDS or Astralis are playing.
Yeah, I really wonder, what the mentality is around the top half of the table, because,
you want to avoid G2, I can give you that one.
It's one of those things, because obviously BDS and Astralis are undoubtedly been our best regular season. I mean, they have the best record.
Yeah, best of one teams.
But it's one of those things where okay, they're the best of one teams, but do we want to deal with G2 in a best of or Vitality?
I mean, also, neither of them made it to the best of 5s last split, right? They have both improved since then, as we can tell by the fact they're at the top of the table. But in best of series, I think Astralis and BDS still very much unproven. Yeah. Whereas Vitality are likely to be strong.
That's it. Yeah.
G2 are going to be strong. And usually Koi actually managed to level up and grow in the best ofs as well. So we'll see. Oh, here we go. Okay, this one you can cheer for. Hitting minions. Slap him. Slap him. Slap him. Photon here to help. Oh! And the tower went down. Perfection. Okay, it's just Herald Camp for the rest of the game. Another charge in. Rest in peace, Shirley. We knew you well.
Herald.
You can tell it's got a bit one-sided when we start cheering for a neutral objective.
Yeah, I mean, the issue here for Koi is that they realistically only got one form of hard engage, and they've got practically a full scaling comp that really comes online at 2 items. Now, they're getting there, but they're definitely not there already, like Vitality are.
Yes.
So, realistically, we are kind of just waiting for Vitality to do what they're doing right now. I think the next course of action is, of course, set up on the top side, play around the Baron vision, and see whether or not you can bait Koi into a team fight and just don't really get caught out by a massive shockwave. That's it.
Yep.
The X factor here for Koi is Larson and potentially finding a huge shockwave to turn things around. Other than that, things looking pretty doomed at the moment.
Yeah.
I hate to write teams off, and I won't do it just yet because we've seen a couple of pretty insane comebacks this weekend already. But Vitality in a super strong position right now.
2 items already, as you say, on Perks. 2 items already on Upset as well. He's got the Runans alongside that Immortal Shield Bow. Often Runans seen as possibly good on Zeri. Sometimes can be a little bit of a bait item, I think. But here you have a lot of people engaging onto you. You know those extra shots are going to hit someone at least. Whereas often Zeri is kind of focusing down one person and moving on to the next person here because of the sort of all-in charge that comes out from Koi. I think it does work for Upset. And you do want a Zeal item on Zeri as well, and you don't really, Phantom Dancer doesn't really give you much.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of this recently. So transitioning back over to the Runans away from the Navori. We saw that for a little while. But it seems like Zeri players are more preferring things like BT second or Runans into BT, into IE, something like that. Anything like that works.
Alright, look for something. Goes in with the wind becomes lightning. There's a lightning crash. Glacial Prism, but the Crescent Guard able to keep him alive. Obviously negates any damage that is cast from outside of it. But again, the tower does fall in Vitality, doing it by rote. They'll move up towards the top side. You can see Photon, because he has the pressure, can push in, and no one can really answer him. He pushes in the wave in the top. The rest of Vitality push in mid, and it's a short shift for them to join up with Photon. 2 towers for 1. Yes, a bounty over to Koi, but net gold advantage once again going over to Vitality as they extend their lead to 6k.
6,000 ahead. And Vitality, like we said, wanted to take control of the top side. They get the inner towers. And now they can just do this, deny vision away from Koi. I mean, Koi have nothing. This is darkness for them. So once, I mean, the Baron's on the map, actually. I've lost track of time a bit, 30 seconds in. They can do whatever they want.
That's the difficulty, right? Like, because if Koi really want to, if Vitality really want to, all they do is they push into your blue side jungle like they just did, and they do that for 2 to 3 minutes. And if you do that for 2 to 3 minutes, what you know is, well, Koi can never get behind us. So how did they place any wards around the Baron? They can't have done that. We know it's Fog of War. We can start it up without any threat of Koi being able to jump in and steal it. The only difficulty is Hex Gates.
Yeah.
That's the only issue with that plan. But it shouldn't foil the entire plan.
Nope.
Because you just ward the Hex Gate, and it's like, okay, cool.
I mean,
now we see
you see them go on the map.
I meant like the entrance by the blue buff, right? Because then you can see them. But yes, you also see them zoom over you, fly and give them a wave as they transported magically above you.
Hello.
Do you know you can pick up a Rift-held Eye with a Hex Gate if you want? Glacial Prison. Just wide there. Singularity used as well by Perks. Shigenda coming in from the side as well. And perhaps Koi found a pick. Kaiser pops the stopwatch. Trimby almost goes pop himself. Shigenda trying to get in with the Entofu strikes. Marawang diving forward as well. And now Bo a little bit isolated from the rest of the team. Meanwhile, Photon is pushing a wave down towards the bottom side. And this will be the third tier 2 over to Vitality.
Yep, Vitality, doesn't matter if they're almost getting caught out in the mid lane. They're still taking structures elsewhere. And Koi simply right now cannot answer. Hex, Soul, 90 seconds time. You imagine that will be their focus. As a couple of members take some resets, stock up on wards. Bo's gone full support. I love this, Radiant Virtue Redemption. And it also makes sense because Koi, when they dive, they're gonna kind of stack up on top of each other. The burst isn't gonna be immediate per se for a while. So that Redemption, it just kind of creates a battleground for you to stand on. And I think when you've got things like A-Soul, you've got things like Zeri who love to kite back. That's excellent. You know where to go to next. Things are going to get really, really difficult. But I think quickly, whilst we're a minute away, a couple of items are starting to come in for Koi. They've got 2 items now on Larson. That's huge. Second item is all completed for Shigenda, so he's not going to get one shot by upset.
Perks
wants an angle. Yeah.
Perks has the ultimate. The skies descend and come stocked up. Bo looking for him as well. Trimby maybe first target for them. 2 already down. Shigenda trying to distract Kaiser and Photon off towards the backside. But Vitality already find 2 in the fight, and they're looking for more. Shigenda chased out the Singularity. The Rylai slow. Perks with another 10-1, and it's felt even more dominant than that from Vitality. Baron perhaps first here with a Soul afterwards to boot.
It just feels so oppressive. The fact that Koi just have no answers, it feels a lot more like the previous game where we had the massive goal deficit between G2 and Man. But Koi, Vitality, it feels even more one-sided than that. Vitality, well, they take the Baron, they'll move over to the Soul. I appreciate what you're looking for here, Koi, but I don't think you're going to get it in time.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to happen.
Maybe you get behind them. So you go towards the bush near the blue. Nope, you're just going to try and slow them down as they come in. Perks flanking. Trimby eats the Singularity. The Rylai slow as well. The stopwatch means that Bo has time to engage. Trimby the first target for Vitality. He'll fall. Bo down low, but the Radiant Virtue just heals him entirely. It's a double for Perks. Comp pops the feathers. Bo hits him in the head. And Photon and Perks are on the chase. The falling star will find its mark, and Vitality in the most one-sided game we have seen in a while. 14 kills to 1, don't even care about the Soul. They're looking for at least an in-hit.
1 kill and 1 tower is what Vitality have allowed Koi to take this game. And Vitality with the Baron, they'll get 1 in him, they'll go back through the Hex Gates. Bo's gonna get hooked up.
Trimby, you sure you want to do that? Bo looking for the permafrost. Shigenda's going to dash in. Can't take those Hex Gates again. Slowed with the Pathfinder, but the Singularity, the Rylai's, and the Winter's Bite is enough to keep Shigenda at bay. There's the Hex Soul as well. And yeah, it's all done, but the singing, and I'm pretty sure I can hear some singing in the crowd at the moment. So I feel it may be over pretty sharpish here, Jamada. Of course, after this, we have that tiebreaker game between Heretics and Mad Lions. And after that, we have the draw show for the group stage. We can kind of sense what Koi are trying to do, but it's smacks of desperation from them.
Too little, too late. At the end of the day, so far behind. Still 5 versus 4. Shigenda coming back out from base. Radiant Virtue heal to save Bo. Don't think he really needed it, but it locks down comp. That's what it's really looking for. And Larson does actually outlast the concussive blows, but he can't outrun a falling star. Bo very happy.
Yeah, and Vitality should be very happy as well. Get themselves 4th spot in the LEC regular season. A little bit of a fall from their first that they made in winter. Of course, the change to bringing an upset and a few games, I'd say, in the middle of the split, you know, kind of last week and a little bit of this week have been a struggle for them, but there has been domination from start to finish. And now with the Baron buff remaining for 36 seconds, you can see that buff, by the way, top right of your screen, or middle right of your screen, next to Vitality's logo. It shows us how long remains on that. Saw a couple of people commenting on Reddit about the overlay and wanting to see that, so I'm just highlighting it for them.
Like the inhib times.
Yeah,
Not
Trimby going in, Bo, 5 levels ahead. Josh going out onto upset, will get the knockup, but no one can chase it down.
God.
There's one, the falling star coming in as well. There's 2, there's 3. Marang, the shockwave, not going to do anything at all. Marang falls, Larson and Shigenda. I'm not even sure the fountain can save you. They will get back to its embrace, but the singularity just stacks for days for Perks. Channeling that Q, and in the end, Koi can only stand and watch as in an absolute demolition, in a domination, Vitality claim 4th spot in the regular season.
Really well executed. And that was an execution of quite that game. Absolutely brutal, but I think Vitality from the jump,
Yep.
just didn't really give Koi an in anywhere. It felt like as soon as Malrang didn't have access to any of the lanes and got solo killed by Bo, that was it. He was pretty much shut out of the game. When Trimby tried to come back towards the mid lane, open the map back out, try and deny some of the pressure going on towards Larson, immediately shut down by the Vitality members from the bottom side. So Vitality, they're locking 4th. You can hear how much it means to the Golden Hornets as well, as players will exchange fist bumps. And yeah, quite a little bit of searching to do towards groups, but at the very least we can say in confidence that groups seems to be where they do come online.
We definitely can. With Vitality winning this, they get 4th, SK 5th, Fnatic 6th, and Koi 7th. So Koi will face either BDS or Astralis. Vitality will face either SK or Fnatic in the group stage. Your player of the game votes at LEC on Twitter, Bo, Perks, and Upset. Everyone, yeah, it was just such a solid performance all around. It's hard to give it to one individual player. I think you can say off the back of Bo's early tracking of Malrang, that's really what unlocked the map for Vitality. But after that point, everyone was in the right place at the right time to bring this victory home for the Golden Hornets.
Well-rounded, I think, is the best way to put it. Like you say, I think it's quite difficult to call player of the game. I guess Bo, because he started it all. Perks finished it all.
Yeah.
Tough call. But hopefully we can maintain this level of play for Vitality moving into groups.
Yeah,
right?
And of course, best of 3 is a different beast. Koi, we saw them elevate their game from winter to winter group stage, or regular season, sorry, to the group stage into the playoffs. I'm sure they'll be expecting to do that again this next weekend? No, weekend after.
Weekend after,
break week. I think it's April 8th. I believe we are back for everything. I can see Frankie getting ready for an interview with Perks. He's looking at me with a slightly tired face. It is 10:30 p.m. I'm sure he's ready to get home to bed. Let's hand it over to you, Frankie.
Thank you very much. Perks, you must have been really keen to do this interview because that was an absolutely fire game from Vitality.
Yeah, I'm really happy that not just that we won, that we actually won in a very dominating fashion. Like, actually, I have to say, it was a bit in my head, like, I actually haven't beaten Koi once since I came back to Europe. So, like, in 1 year, I'm pretty sure I haven't beaten them once last year, yeah?
So a little bit of a...
But the thing is, they shouldn't have to. They should know these things, Yamano.
100%. Luckily, Team Red is on blue side. I'm hoping they can find ways to deny the Annie Raka. Maybe that's going to be the go-to bans. I'm expecting from red side, Draven ban. The big question is going to be Xayah. Xayah secures you the Vi. It's a really, really big one. You know, are we going to see a denial of the Vi-Ahri combination?
I don't think that you need to look far from Heretics. I actually think it's on Matt Lyons to ban that Xayah. It's a very contested pick in between them here as well. Annie is also a champion that you might need to be worried about. But honestly, with Mercer and Hylissang against each other here, do we even think like the Annie will still have the value? Do we feel like they just want to fully send it on the engaged champions, and will it just be let open?
The funny thing about the Annie is just kind of an in-between, right? It's like a range champ that can full send it.
Right.
And we've seen it banned so often, so it's so easy to forget. But I feel like the games that Hilly has been successful on is Rakan and Annie. Sadly, Rakan has been banned, I think, 9 out of 9 games against Hilly, or just first picked against him. So I doubt he's going to get that one. Ooh, it's going to get spicy.
Could be a
Rakan
little
Annie
takeaway
trade.
here, yeah.
Spicy.
Let's see what happens to Xayah. That's a big one as well. Because at least if you first pick Xayah here, you get to trade Annie and Rakan, then you're very happy on Team Heretic side. So Mad Lions need to tread carefully here.
Also from the side of junglers, we already have Viant, Seju, Greg is out of the way, so there's like Maokai, Wukong, we've seen Elyoya and Lee Sin as well. There's a lot of specific champions being thinned out here. Annie will still be banned out, so Rakan, Xayah on the table. Which one do you value the most? I have to feel like it needs to be the Xayah, just due to the fact that if you go Rakan, there's always Nautilus. You need the self-peel and the setup for an AD carry here.
You get the juiciest of juiciest Rakans in the hands of Hilly, but it also follows up with a very easy Nautilus counter pick for, of course, Mercer. So they're going to pick that 2-3, probably with the jungle, maybe a Wukong, and they're going to play it out from that point.
Is it one of those cases where Hilly is still happy with that? Because he's told us yesterday, right? He said, I don't mind sometimes if I get countered, maybe even hard countered. I know what I can do.
It really comes down to a player, because when you play the Rakan into Nautilus matchup, if he sees you on vision and you just see each other eye to eye, Nautilus will win that one. But if you have the flanks, which, you know, Hylissang specifically has been renowned for on a champion like this, that's where you can start making the difference. Now with Maokai coming through, still seeing the potential of a Wukong for Jankos here. We have seen good synergy between him and Mercer when they've been teaming up with some engage. So Nautilus Wukong wouldn't be the worst decision to come out with here.
I'm thinking Nautilus and Wukong, and then on 3, kind of a crazy thing, but I would love to see Kazi on Ezreal. It's kind of a curveball altogether, because that's not a champion that we've seen a lot. But I think of my fondest memory of Kazi is at Ezreal, where he silently scales and has that layer of safety for him. And I think together with Maokai, there's good synergy, but it's kind of a crazy thing to just mention right in the pick and ban. Maybe just keep it simple with a little Varus.
Is it crazy or is it genius?
Maybe.
It's Kazi.
It's Kazi.
The thing is, there is still a Sivir as well here, so if you want to feel like a bit safer into it, you can go Sivir into the Nautilus. That's a decent matchup as well. Problem is that you can time it up with the... Yeah, that's very true. But you can time it up with the Sire Feathers as well to try and bait out the spell shield here and there. So it's going to be curious to see if that's what they're looking for. Scaling aspect has not been something we've been huge fans of, but it would be way more simple, and it is a Seri coming through from Kazi.
It's Ezreal with a wig.
It's Ezreal with a wig, yeah, that's true,
Actually,
I guess.
yeah, if you remove that just looks like his haircut.
Just spam pressing Q, I guess, is the same champion. It's modern Ezreal.
Modern.
I'm curious now what's going to happen with the mid pool, because I doubt that Ari is going to be in. There we go.
Yeah.
So maybe an Azir, maybe on 4 to give Chasey a last pick with in the shape of like a Jax could be the angle. I think also you can consider maybe removing Sylas because you have Maokai and Rakan, so he has very strong ultimates. But I'm not so sure where Ruby's going to go from here. I think we might just see an Azir on 4 here for Niski.
Would definitely be a safer option, but would slow down the game plan of Mad Lions quite significantly as well. So we know they haven't really been too comfortable when it's not trigger-happy compositions they've had to play. I think for the composition they're currently going for, it would be a good choice. A lot of pressure would fall to Elyoya and Hylissang as well, finding those engages, and if they would look for early skirmishes as well. But also just on the Team Heretics comp as well, this is a composition where level 6, we want to fight and we need to do it ASAP.
Yeah, the Gwen ban kind of signals that they are looking to potentially just 4th pick a top laner. I don't see a world where you would ever blind pick Gwen, so maybe we're just going to have Chasey on K'Sante.
Yeah.
That is a champion that both of these players have played, and I think Chasey has had some very good moments on K'Sante, and it's definitely a champion that can block a lot of the things that Nautilus wants to achieve in a team fight. There's the Jax out.
Super value also if you pick it away from Abby specifically, so you're probably right.
We're going to have probably just a Sion Azir lock in here, where Team Heretic is going to play a front-to-back composition. And then the question will be, what will Niski have in store for us on 5? The last time we saw a Sylas into Azir, maybe he's going to play the Akali. I'm trying to think of all the Niski classics. Twisted Fate is something, but quite so difficult to play into the Azir, of course.
Last time they played, he played Cassio. Ari. They lost.
Okay, so we do get Talia here as well. So you see that quite often into Rakan to slow that game plan down a bit, can make Silas a bit more neutralizing in that regard. But once again, if it's a flanking Rakan and he has flash, you never really get to actually stop him. There is a few Renekton hovers here. I think for the sake of Team Heretics composition, they need engage. So no Renekton, but we're looking at Sion and Malphite. Weak side that one, and then you have a reliable front laner for your backline to carry with.
All right, Renekton instead.
Joke's on you, Goldberg.
Not
Yeah,
a
I
big
guess
fan
so.
there, considering Evi's performances. I think Sion would have just made their draft very NA.
I agree.
And I think this is one of those moments where you make your draft very NA. You're very happy too. Surprised they chose Talia instead of Azir, but we have a very big front-to-back situation here. We're going to have standoffs at the Dragons. Whichever team gets ahead is going to have a very good time.
So from everything I've picked up, the only big points of contention, it seems, was rather maybe have seen Cardi on something else and maybe Ebby on something else. How much is that going to disrupt their plans?
Yeah, I think for Mad Lions, they're looking at a way more scaling type game plan here, where if you don't fall too far behind, like you can rely on yourself being 2k gold behind when you reach into that 20-25 minute. That's perfectly fine with what you have. Good range, good engage options.
like that's
from
dangerous.
afar as well. That's the thing,
How
right?
do you time
because
that?
on Team Heretics, their game plan should be, we hit level 6, all right, get this AC out of the
Yeah.
map, or Talia out of the map. We have Nautilus, we have Yankas on the Wukong, skirmish, and get a lead.
I'm going to call it right here. We're going to have a Hylissang masterclass. I think his Rakan should never go through. I think he's going to absolutely dominate. Maybe I'm a bit biased because he's my homeboy, but
Maybe.
Yeah, but you
Rakan
get
on
to be
Hilly is
biased, that's
beauty.
fine.
We'll see indeed. Is that the
Johannes.
legend himself, Johannes? Probably there, of course there, to support the Mad Lions through thick and through thin. And now they are in the thick of it. They need to win this tiebreaker, or they will have gone from the finals to knocked out in the regular season. It would be so embarrassing. They do not want to make that happen, but on the other side is Team Heretics waiting to show that they have more in the tank. Tiebreaker right now. Like right now.
And on to we go. On to. I was hyping myself up so much for this moment.
Don't lose
And I
momentum, it's
messed
okay.
up the first line.
It's all right.
Okay, we reset.
Yep.
And on to Summoner's Rift we go. Woo! For the final time of the spring regular season. We have had 45 best of ones
Oh, yeah.
that have led to this moment. The 46th. And the winner of this makes it through to the group stage. Mad Lions, as Shock said, would go from finals to knocked out in the regular season for the second time. They did it in the past, remember, when they won, when placed 7th
Oh, yeah.
with Rika coming in. The question is, will we see the Mad Lions that lost earlier today? Will we see the Heretics that won earlier today? Or will we see what we have seen from these teams more consistently throughout this split, which is missteps, misplays, and very scrappy games?
That's
Last
what
time they met, sorry,
No, I was going to say that's what we're here for.
that is what we're here for.
Last time they
Yes.
met.
Last time they met, it was Heretics who took the win. A lot of it off the back of Jack Spectra on Heisa. Had a very strong performance. We'll see if Heretics are able to replicate that here. And as the desk said, looks like Mad Lions are looking for a bit of scaling here, Jamada. Would you agree with the desk's read on the draft and how things are going to look throughout the course of this game?
I think especially for Mad, right? Azir, Zeri. You're not playing the game, well, you are playing the game, but you're not looking to get proactive for a little while unless the opportunity really does present itself. And I think for Team Heretics, you definitely can play some of the later game team fights. I do feel like they've edged themselves a little bit closer to the mid game, however, with picks like Renekton and picks like Talia. So I would like to see, you know, more proactivity. Again, that was what we wanted from them earlier. That's what we got. And they've got the kind of draft where they can still achieve those same goals whilst, at the very least, trying to match Mad Lions at 2 items and try to roll them over in the front to backs and break that formation.
And as much as the Renekton might seem a little bit out of left field, Ebby did bring it to the fore 2 times in the winter split, and across his career, 24 games, 80% win rate on it, or 79.2%, but we can round up for good measure. into Chasey's Cassante. Ebby will be looking to get control of the lane early on. Of course, Cassante scales very well as the game does progress. And for the moment, nothing really happening on the Rift. It is a bit odd, I will say, to see two of the best junglers in the league fighting for the final spot.
I never thought about it
in
like
the group
that.
stage. But yeah, I mean, Elyoya, although hasn't always been on top form this split, has consistently been put up in the contention for the best player in the league, or the best jungler at least. Jankos, I think this split has really cemented his status as the best European jungler we've actually ever seen, the GOAT. And now, once again, has to try and find a way to wrangle his team towards one more victory. One more 50 gold from the Nexus falling. And Yoyo looking for something in the mid lane, but Ward will spot him out. Jankos was spotted on a Ward down in the Tribush as well, I do believe. Ebby and Chasey fighting over the Scuttle Crab. Blabber has infected the LEC.
Who's going to get it?
Pathfinder from Chasey does get the stun as well. The Untofu Strike's going to get him back as well, but Ebby gets the Rage Bar up over half. Can be quite ferocious in that sort of situation. And Elyoya came across, doesn't have the smite, but should have enough damage with one more Q to secure the Scuttle Crab. Ebby looking for a little bit more though. You can see Jankos on his way up. The base comes out from Chasey, and Jankos unable to find anything there.
Kikachad Chasey securing the Skull Crab. Oh yeah, getting a double crab on the back of that. Feels quite nice. Jankos is going to walk into Elyoya. He's actually going to stick back onto him. Has the red buff, so the chase down is possible, but that sapling slow might just about be enough.
Flash forward. Knock back with the Nature's Grass. Jankos just looking to force Elyoya out of his jungle. Now Jankos' camps were a little bit later on the spawn. Crushing blow, not enough. And Elyoya flashes away and will escape on 16 HP.
Staff, not an axe. Won't cut down the tree, but very much a good force back. And now Jankos can take away the second spawn Krugs, so that's going to feel quite good. Actually smited the small one. I think that might have been a bit of a misclick, but he's still going to get the camp anyway.
He gets, I mean, it's 11 o'clock at night, man. Like,
yeah.
When I make mistakes casting at this sort of hour, I just think about how much more pressure's on the players, and like, you're not often playing at this time of night unless you are the last game of the LEC, and we have another Kit Kat moment as Jankos looks for the top lane. Chasey with the Untofu Strikes will just knock Jankos back.
Get a grass stack.
Yeah. Take those. Wave pushing in towards Ebby as well, so he should be fine as Chasey continues to put down a bit of pressure. Elyoya, knowing that his opposing junglers on the top side of the map, will start up the Drake. Mercer and Jack Spectra pushed in a little bit, means that Kazi and Hylissang have first move. And it's pretty easy for Mad Lions to secure this, assuming Heretics don't over-invest into fighting around that first neutral objective.
Yep, a little bit telegraphed, but makes sense. And for Team Heretics, they can't really contest, so it's going to be a little bit difficult. Mid lane prior as well from Niski. So he's got first move over. Ruby doesn't have level 6 either, so no Weaver's Wall shenanigans. So this is going to be the Dragon picked up. Really clean. And it's just a punish on the fact that Jankos went towards that top side, couldn't achieve anything.
Net a Krug camp for Jankos. Ebby with the Dominus, trying to put the damage down onto Chasey here. We'll get him underneath the tower with this Predator as well, that W stun, locking him up. And Ruby does have the Weaver's Wall, which means Chasey might have to be a little cautious. Can Blast Cone, Weaver's Wall in, the rock surfing as well. That passive from Talia means her ability to move through the jungle. She's accelerated, she surfs along whenever she's near one of those walls. Chasey stayed around, and there's the Weaver's Wall, but Chasey has the all out here, knocked back away from the tower.
Yeah.
And Chasey's fine with that. The ultimate invested, no real gain for Heretics.
Slightly awkward placement. The idea there really, I think, from Ruby is that he wants to try and get him trapped in between the walls and the tower, which is why he gets him there, but Chasey able to just about get over that line. So the play fizzles out, but still, you can see the idea from Team Heretics, and it was a good one. Chasey stayed for that wave, very well could have been punished. He's not going to be this time, as he just wants to get this wave crash, but Ebby's going to stop his recall and just ensure that it stays frozen for now.
Ruby with a good seismic shove there onto Niski, but you can see Hylissang just here joining up with his mid laner and his jungler, making sure that they can get control of this top side of the map. With Rift Herald spawning in 40 seconds, this base reset to mid around the level 5, level 6 is something that has become commonplace for supports. Hylissang will try and get some wards in, steal away the Scryer's Bloom as well, just makes it a little bit easier for you to secure it if you want. And also, you can take a bit of time, as we saw, to help your mid laner push out the wave. Niski gets the base, has already used his TP, as has Ruby, so in the end, all's fair in love and war, as both the mid laners will return to a neutral wave state. Kazi forced away from his tower down towards the bottom side because Hylissang spent that time on the top side of the map, and it's this rippling effect of everything that can happen, and Jack Spectra can just take a tower plate and then back away. Even if Hylissang was able to like long-range engage with Kazi dashing over the wall, Jack Spectra has the cleanse, has the flash, has the Featherstorm, and that's exactly what happens. The lightning crash coming out. The root going down. Kazi looking for the bounces here on that burst fire, but underneath the tower, Jack Spectra should be fine. Hylissang not yet 6. How far away is he? Still about half a level. You can see by the pink bar next to his champion portrait, and Jack Spectra now the one forced away from the tower. The plate will be forfeited for it. In the end, it's an even trade once again. The Rift Herald secured by Jankos, and Mercer and Ruby spending some time down towards the bottom side to try and keep Elyoyo at bay, but as a tree, he's very at home in the jungle, so he's happy just to walk his way around, find another bush to wait in, and steal away that red.
Every reaction has a reaction, and so far, feels like it's been tit for tat. Punch for punch, jab for jab. Bottom side, a couple of waves missed by Kazi, but then Jack Spectra gets punished. I think if that W landed, it would have been quite nice. Now, this is a face check, but I think Hilly should be fine. And if everyone here from Mad wants to escape, they should be able to. Bit of a collapse coming. Jankos is on the way. And Elyoyo, just as a precaution, just going to drop the ultimate.
I think that's wise.
Yeah, just to get out in time.
I mean, the thing is, when you next using that ultimate, right? If observers, you could just hover over Elyoyo first, we can see how long the cooldown is on that. 100 seconds, right? So even if you were thinking, oh, we want to use it around the next Drake, well, the next Drake's in 2 minutes, and that's 120 seconds away.
But I'll counter you this. If Team Heretics do look for a Herald play before then, and Elyoyo is in the area, not having that ultimate down is actually pretty big deal. It's kind of, a lot of times, like Ornn ultimate, right? You kind of just throw it out, see what kind of threat it can give you. And oftentimes, just threat of it being cast is enough to send the team back. Yeah. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case wholeheartedly in terms of a dive. For now, they're just going to drop the Herald, just see what they can sniff out.
And for any of you that haven't experienced a tiebreaker before, this is what they feel like. Often, Jack Spectra's going to have the flash, the hook going down, depth charge being used as well onto Hylissang. He's rooted up, he can dash back, still has the flash.
Oh no.
Weaver's wall from Ruby. Elyoyo looking for something. Hylissang with the quickness, dodging to the side, gets the charm on two, but already he's fallen underneath the tower though. Ruby gonna pay for his dive with his life. Jankos with the cyclone on the clone there. Nisqy coming in, has the flash, going for it, just shuffles Mercer back. Didn't want to go all in for the flash, but still 2 kills to the good. Mad Lions win out the fight. Ebby, looking to proxy a wave here, knows that all of Mad Lions are on the bottom side. Jankos could look for a little bit more, but Nisqy obviously held his flash earlier on. In the end, it is 2 tower plates in the bot side for Mad Lions, 3 tower plates for Heretics across the course of the first 10 minutes, and Mad Lions 1 kill to the good.
Yeah, 1 kill to the good, slow-paced game. I think that's what Mad need after earlier as well. Just need to ensure that they're not getting run over, and I think just for the sake of the composition as well. Zeri, Azir, you guys have seen these 2 champions before. You know how they work. And Mad, they're not listening to me. They want this play on Ruby. He didn't have to use his flash on the earlier play.
Yeah, he's going to flash the wall here, I think.
Yeah.
There we go. Flashes gets away from the Nature's Grasp.
Hello.
Root going down onto Mercer, knocked back with the Bramble Smash, and Mercer should be fine. And yeah, something I was saying before Hylissang decided to rudely interrupt me with the gameplay.
How dare he?
Was this tends to be how these early games feel in a tiebreaker. Like, people are a bit apprehensive, they don't want to really engage too hard, they don't want to be the player that throws the game, and often you need someone like Hylissang to take the imperative as Jankos looks for the steal, can't quite get it.
Oh, wow.
Walks away, flashes after. The hook goes down onto Hylissang, but Chasey is here. Ebby on his way as well. Jankos down to half HP. Ruby trying to trade in. Mercer already dead, of course, as Jack Spectra looks to join the fray, but can't really find a way to enter the battle. And Mad Lions get a dragon and another kill.
Yeah, Mad considering moving forward there, but I think a lot of discipline shown just to not overchase into the choke. We actually saw earlier in Team Heretics game where how quickly it can go badly if you do end up overchasing and things like that. They get their second dragon cleanly. It's a Hex Tech Soul. Strongest early mid-game soul in the game, I would argue. So really good look for Mad Lions. And now also, you have to remember, right, it's them with the later, you know, scaling team composition. I put that in air quotes. Execution always important, but in terms of the flat value, front to back, Mad Lions definitely should be winning out. And now, looking towards the next dragon, which is their third, they should be comfortable. Honestly, Team Heretics should realistically be the one that are trying to pick up those early dragons because they're the ones with the better skirmishing. But Mad now, with that ease of knowing that they won't get pressured,